It is episode 29 of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. We're back with another episode. Fast. I think the last episode was 6 days ago. So within a week, we're already back because we had a couple of short events to cover. It's been an exciting week of Counter-Strike. I've enjoyed what's going on with all of it. As always, I will do the time that we've been doing this in case some other news or something comes out and you go, why did you guys not cover it? And I'll be like, well, didn't actually know that was happening. So it is the 20th of October, 2025. It is 4:58 in the afternoon, which means it is 3:58 for Devilwalk over in Sweden. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. I mean, I came off from a lunch with my mother for us to go straight into recording. So yeah, no, it's a good day so far.
Did you end the lunch because of the recording?
No. We
Okay.
we had a good 3 hours together, so it was all good.
That was enough mum time.
Yeah, it was
Quality
enough.
mum time was
Yeah.
had. All of that was good. We're both actually using our cameras correctly by the looks of it. If we move to the side a little bit, move to the side. Yeah, yeah, there we go. Yeah, yeah. Look at that. We've mastered this because last episode we didn't do that correctly at all. What have you been doing in the past week anyway, other than watching Counter Strike?
Uh, let's see. What have I been doing? Um, can barely remember. Watching Counter Strike, playing some
Bro, still
Deadlock.
hungover, of course. Deadlock.
No, but seriously, I think this hungover plus having COVID before, it's made me extremely like have no energy at all during the days. I would dip, and I normally don't dip. Like I don't normally. I'm the type of person that goes for a power nap in the middle of the day and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But I've been kind of like, I can't even sit by the PC. I've been so exhausted.
you know
So
it's a problem if you can't sit on a PC.
yeah, that's when you know you're really sick. So no, it's been a weird week for me, but I'm starting to finally get some energy back after that. So starting to feel better. So I haven't done much. Just kind of been laying on the couch, having a lot of these, watching shows by the couch and barely being awake, kind of days. So yeah, not much, but it's been good to kind of
You know what
recover a
this
bit.
is a sign of? This is a sign that you're actually getting old, that you can't even handle the hangover anymore.
Well, yes, it is for sure a sign of being old. And I mean, it's one of those things, I since I did 2 days, it feels
Mhm.
like I have a backlash of hangover for 5 days just because your body can't handle it anymore. Um, so yeah, it's not good, not good.
Well, I've had my third surgery of the year and I am done. I've had chest, back, and now my ass at the same time. So, by the way, I'll tell you this, having an operation while you're awake is weird as hell, man. It's so weird because something's happening. You know something's happening, but you can't feel it because of the anesthesia. Anesthesia?
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah, whatever that's called. Um, bro, it's much better when they put you to sleep through these things because I'm just looking down. I'm thinking like, this is so wild. This is so horrible. I'm still like, by the way, this episode you are going to have to carry because I am so dosed up on like high level painkillers. I even have a seat that I'm sitting on right now, which is like a ring seat for my ass to make sure I'm all fine.
yeah.
But hopefully
How's
after,
the how's
yeah,
the implants?
implants are looking amazing, man. Biggest dump truck you've ever seen. Wait till we get to the next event. I'm be shaking that all over the stage like a madman.
Dude, the after party is gonna be wild.
Bro, the after party is gonna start when they're lifting whatever trophy it is gonna be from whatever event. I'm just gonna be every photo. I'm
I've
be sticking it
implanted a
up
picture
further.
in my mind now that I do not want there.
Bro, if
This
I
is like a
laugh, I feel
self harm.
pain. Yeah, this is. I don't know why you did this. You started all this because you knew I
Yeah.
would continue on with it. But I will say this for anyone, doesn't matter what you're doing in life or work, if you have a pain, if you have something wrong, if a doctor tells you you need to do something, don't delay. Like I was the biggest idiot where I was like, oh, I've got an event, oh, I've got this. And then sometimes we'd come home for just a few days and I'd be like, I don't want to do it now, I just kept putting it off, putting it off. And it cost me serious problems. Like it was very bad. And I'm very lucky to be in good health and had the doctors do really good. Everything
But
was like fine.
it's still kind of understandable, like for people who maybe don't know like the world of esport in that sense, that you kind of have the feeling where I can't miss out on this because this will mean I might miss out on the next one and the next one and the next one because they won't hire me and maybe someone else kind of grabs that opportunity in some sense.
Oh yes, dude! You
Um,
should see the emails I sent to like the invites I had. For example, like I said, I was invited to Thunderpick, and
yeah,
I would have loved to have done that event. It would have been awesome, right? And so I just made sure to like. I told them I really do have the doctor's surgery. Like I can prove it. I'm so sorry. Otherwise, I would do this event because I don't want them to do an event next year and then they just think like, screw this guy, man. He said he turned us down last time.
yeah, yeah.
That's a real problem on esports side. But I also think for players probably putting off different
No,
operations or health
100%.
things, right? Just so
Like
they,
we have to do this event and we
yeah, you
have to
know,
get these points or
and even if you work a normal job, right, and you're worried about having that time off or something, don't do it. It's not worth it. No amount of money is worth all this kind of stuff because my last operation would have been so less bad if I had just done it earlier on time, like when was said. And
yeah.
I definitely won't be doing this again. Like I'm gonna be doing things as when the doctor says and doing it correctly and all that stuff. So that's just my little public service announcement for everyone. Don't delay. If there is, even if you just feel something, just go and get it checked out. Like
Yeah.
we're very good as humans to be like, nah, it'll be fine. You know, oh, it'll get better. But actually, you are that person. I know you are that person. Like
Why they
I
have
didn't
called
need to
me
see a
out?
doctor. Yeah, you're having the finger pointed directly at you for this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I am. I
But
am.
we got a couple of events to review because it's been an exciting time. I'm going to start with the CAC side of things because that was the one that technically finished earlier, you know.
Yeah.
Um, CAC obviously happening in Shanghai, China. They're back again. Didn't get as many top teams as what was expected. Did still have $1 million prize pool. Did still feature like 3D Max. FaZe was there as well. Pain, some of the more notable names. But then it was a lot of other teams who had opportunity names we do know, but are not normally getting direct invites to an event like this. Should we just start by looking over our predictions?
I
Because
mean, we can start that way.
yeah, so predictions. First game was 3D Max versus the Huns. We both said 3D Max. We got the win. We both gave up on Virtus.pro for the second game. We said there's no way Virtus.pro are going to beat Legacy, and Legacy won. So that was pretty good. First up and down one was Gamer Legion versus Liquid. You went Gamer Legion, I went Liquid, and I got the win. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to say, just since we're on the topic, I mean, Gamer
Yeah.
Legion, such a disappointment
Oh,
recently.
oh,
It's been tough to watch.
yeah.
And you know,
I I was
I'm kind
expecting
of in
more.
that, yeah, I'm kind of in that boat. Like, I want them to do well, but at the same time, how much more stock do they actually have? I know they've been through a new lineup change and stuff like that, but
Yep.
it's not looking that well or great.
Yeah, there's a few things we'll come on to with some of the teams in here for sure. Lin Version versus MIBR. We both said Lin Vision. Maybe we were deluded because MIBR got that one.
Yep.
Tyloo versus Fluxo. We both predicted Tyloo. They did go on to win. Pain Fnatic. We went different ways again. So I said Pain. You said Fnatic. And Fnatic actually got the win, which was fair enough. I'm bored
I
of
mean,
talking
you
about
said that
Fnatic at
Pain
this
will
point.
trash Fnatic
Yeah, but
in
that's because I'm
the last
hating on
episode.
Fnatic like crazy, you know? Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
so against Fnatic and everything they're doing right now. The wildest one though, I know it's a best of one, but it's FaZe versus FUT. Um, and FaZe lost it. We'll come on to this later because we also said that FaZe would win the whole tournament. We said FaZe should probably win the whole tournament. They didn't even make playoffs. Um, so it's kind of a sad time in there. Out of all the teams, right? So there's 16 teams taking part here. Fluxo, MIBR, I'm not really expecting much anyway from. We can start with Gamer Legion, I think,
Yep.
because Gamer Legion was the one we're most disappointed with. It's like you're losing to Liquid. I'm not going to say it's a bad result. It's a best of one. Yeah, it can happen. But I will say the loss against Lin Vision is you can't just have overpass and then the rest of your maps just don't stack up. And I'm not even going to put it down to HypeX. I'm just going to put it down to I don't think that their only problem is an AWPer. I
No.
think it might be the system. I think it might be the way they want to play CS because, like, HypeX when he was playing for Apogee or whatever it was called before the Polish team, He was a pretty good player. I'm not going to say he was like mind blowing and I'm so excited about everything he's doing, but he was a good AWPer. But we do
Yeah.
see that some players are struggling when they're coming in. And like the Kersey one, we saw that was a miss because he was missing shots like crazy. But this is now like AWP after AWP after AWP. And it's very early. I'm not going to be too critical on it. But if this doesn't start to show some better face while you have like PR, which a lot of other teams will be interested in, Rez, who's back to form, like I'd even
Yeah,
say
I mean
Towson has some good
they have
moments.
yeah, I mean they have some great individual players. I think the worrying part is they've had about a 12-week period which hasn't really looked that great. And I know it's a recent kind of lineup switch, but they've been
Yep.
struggling for results for such a long time in this season that at some point the excuses start to kind of run out, and they need to be able to
Yeah.
grind results out against at least the lesser opponents and find some consistency and get into higher places. It's understandable that they drop out in a tournament where it's stacked, like an EPL or something like that, where there is a lot of good teams. Like, I mean,
Yep.
they had the Mongols, Vitality, and Mouse in the last tournament where
Yeah.
you
That
can
was
give
tough. That was
them.
horrible.
Yeah, that was a tough one, but then you go into this, CS Asia Championship, and this is where you should be kind of regaining form and cementing yourself. Okay, we deserve an invite, we deserve a chance to kind of upset these big teams, and they didn't really grab that opportunity
Yeah.
at all. So it is disappointing because it's obviously a new form liquid. They've been struggling a little bit themselves for a while, but as you said, like, against Lim Vision, they should be picking up wins. They
Yeah.
should be kind of extending their tournament run. I personally would never have seen them being in a final or a top four spot, but they should make kind of playoff, I think.
Make playoffs, be fighting for playoffs, something like that would definitely be. And do you know what the thing is? I don't mind that they went out like the way they did. It's just more now it's starting to stack up. And
Yeah.
I don't see them in my mind anymore as a playoff contenders team. I just see them as could maybe do something on a good day. Other than that, probably not going to go far. Like if you put them into a PGL event right now, or you put them into a Fissure or anything like that, I don't see them making playoffs. Before we were saying they should make playoffs, they should have a chance. We weren't
Yeah.
saying title contenders, but my expectations have dropped so much further down for them right now. But I'll give them one more chance in the sense that I do think all of CAC was flawed by having these best of ones at the beginning because
Yeah.
they had the chance because it's just two games and you're eliminated, right? They had the chance to just run all best of threes. I don't understand why they didn't just do because it wasn't in an arena, two streams or something like that, and have all best of threes. That would have been the best scenario for their tournament to be a little bit more valuable. Um, Yeah,
I
that
agree on
that
that.
that, that was the only thing that was kind of disappointing. It's like $1 million prize pool, 16 teams, definitely should have all been best of threes. I didn't need to see that many best of ones. Like that was a problem for me. Um, I don't think we need to touch on bait because they had a stand-in. So like Kenzazor wasn't there. They bring in Krasnow. I wasn't expecting much from them anyway. Do you think right now, if we look at the next team within this who are going out, right? Because we're not going to sit on every single team. Because like Fluxo, for example, no expectations to them.
Yeah.
MIBR, I guess, was worth talking about because they at least got the win in a best of one against Linvision, but then they lost to Liquid and VP. They obviously brought Kicker and Klim in, so they're speaking English now. I know that Exit and Insani's English is pretty damn good. BRN, I'm not too sure about. Like I can talk to him when we've been at events, but he's not one that's like jumping up for content or interviews or something like that.
How long
What
have
do
they
you?
actually had as a lineup now? I'm trying to.
Not long, not long at all.
So it's been a month, approximately a month,
Yep.
with these guys. Well, I mean, first of all, I don't really know what to think about this lineup at all. I'm just very confused about this kind of iteration of players. Um, with that being said, I did not know much about Klim, uh, and Kicker just seems like a little bit of a weird one for me. Maybe Klim, is a bit of a talent, and Kicker to me, I just never understood. Uh,
Klim could be seen more as like a potential rising star, you know.
yeah,
But the biggest problem, and I think I've said about this before with MIBR, is how long are they able to hold on to Insani when he can easily go to a better Brazilian team and shine? Because he's the one with so much talent. He's the one that's been spoke about for so long time. And I feel like time's now just ticking away, that his stock's going to get lower and he's going to be less interesting. And it actually might just hurt him in the long run.
yeah. I mean, the thing that makes me frustrated with this lineup, it's not that these players, they obviously haven't had enough time to kind of gel and kind of fix the language issues and all of that and kind of get themselves into that philosophy as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, let's say that this would be fixed, would they actually be a better lineup than they were with the full Brazilian one? That's my question. Because if you're going that international route,
Yeah.
you have to kind of kickstart your way into having a better potential 5 players than you had before. That's where
Yeah.
I'm having an issue with this kind of switch where I'm not sure they do. But I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong about that. It's just my initial kind of feeling about it is, are they really going to have a better potential than they had with the Brazilian lineup?
And also, I'd look at it in this way, that the way that MIBR play is not a way that's going to be very normal to someone like Kickert or to Klim. And that adjustment on finding a balance is not going to be the same if you're comparing it to the Furia one, where Fallen doesn't just play some crazy gung ho rush all the way. You know, it's a lot more normalized CS, let's just call it that.
Yeah.
And that can fit the Molodoi, that can fit the Yakinda coming in. Where on MIBR side, I don't see it. Maybe it's just this is the start of how they want to progress. But I mean, we just have to keep
But
an eye on him at future tournaments.
the thing with having, Fallen do that is that he can guide that lineup, he can kind of even paint a vision for how he wants the Oper to be,
Mm-hmm.
being such a successful one himself and being an in-game leader. Uh, that guidance to switch to that international lineup is so vital for their success in some sense. It's not just Molodoi coming in and all of a sudden he's the best player in the world because of they saw it in a game against them. He
Yeah.
has that, but he also gets, when you look at Furia play, he also gets put into spots, puts into situations that the other teammates are creating for him. They're giving him that space. They are pressuring other sides of the maps to make sure that Molodoi can have that impact. And do they have that kind of figure that can make those kind of crucial calls to give the space for these new players in MIBR? That's it's a tough question to answer. I'm not sure. Maybe they do, but I don't see it right now.
And similarly, some Lin Vision, I'm not going to touch on in too much detail, but I'm going to say this. Okay, it's a CAC, you lose to MIBR, you beat Game Legion, then you lose to 3D Max. I don't expect them to beat 3D Max. Maybe I don't even expect them to take a map off it. But I will say, if the Lin Vision I saw a few games of turn up to stage 1 of the major, they won't make it to stage 2. The team we saw at the Austin major looks so different when we've got them further throughout other tournaments. Maybe it'll be some major magic. Maybe something like that can happen. But I'm just going to say for now, the drop off is real. The drop off is far.
Yeah. I mean, the surprise factor is kind of gone with them. I think they
Yeah.
were a very like aggressive, kind of gimmicky team in some sense. They had players who take initiatives and kind of take over rounds with X Factor, because of taking kind of risky maneuvers and kind of getting bailed out in some sense. And I think a lot more teams know who they are, how they play.
Yep.
They've seen what they can do and what their kind of approach is generally. So that surprise factor in some sense is gone, and I think more teams just they're more ready for it. In essentially,
And this is a team that both of us, next for looking at Pain, right? Both of us had a lot of love for Pain.
Yeah.
This is an event I honestly expected them to do so well at, and I don't get it, because Blast Bounty, right, starting off online, not too good. Stage 1 of Cologne wasn't too good either. You only beat Big Clan, you lose to both Liquid and Astralis. By the way, that was like a dead Liquid at the time as well. And then Fissure Playground, I'm not going to say it was like impressive results. You beat Heroic, Astralis, VP. And remember, that's also a dead VP at the time. So, like, top 8 is still good for them at Fissure. But then when you're coming to CAC, this is a pain where I'm going, this should be playoffs, this should be semis. This should be maybe going all the way and going to a grand finals. That, like, something has changed in this team where, and I remember this was all of the beginning of the year, we spoke so positively about Pain, the changes they were making, bringing DGT in, bringing Davideus in, getting more of a performance out of NQZ. Obviously, we had him on the podcast as well, and him talking about getting his own psychologist, doing all this extra work himself to improve and make things better. But this is a worrying result for me, and this is not a positive.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. I think the one thing I'm wondering about is I actually just put up the ranking now, and if you see their actual forms, it's a lot of like hills in the kind of ranking.
So
Because
going down,
remember,
down, peaking.
yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, if you remember, even before, when they had Bigger Sierra and the old lineup with the before DGT and Davideus, right?
When Lux was still there.
Yes, exactly. When
Yeah, yeah,
Lux
yeah.
was still there. They're still, approximately in the same ranking as we have today. Rank 14. What are they now? 14, 16, something along those lines. And then they had a massive dip. They changed players, and they had a little bit of dip because of the changed players, of course. Then they peaked again, had a really good kind of major run. And now that dip is starting again, straight after that major, never really come into form. They're kind of just riding the points, and then they're gradually dipping again. I'm wondering what the cause of this could be, because it's obvious that this is a continuous problem. They, it's almost like they peak for 1/3 of a season, and then they drop down, peak for 1/3 of a season, drop down. So there's some obvious, I mean, there's some glaring issues, I guess. It could be that they, I don't know, they just can't figure out the meta fast enough, and then once they do, they start peaking again, and then they get figured out, and people start to figure them out too fast, and they can't really build on what they are doing. I'm not sure, but it's definitely an issue, because you can't be just riding on VRS points
No.
forever and getting invites and chances and not delivering.
But also, I remember when I spoke during interviews at events with Big Azera, and there was
Yeah.
times where he was like giving up some of his positions, then he took them back so that he could perform better. But he is
That definitely
down.
doesn't help with consistency.
No, but also he's down now. Like, he used to have some games where he was leading, dominating. Now, I don't expect him to be the star fragging IGL, but he would have some games where he can carry them across the line, make some moves, make some plays that is just lacking right now. And maybe they can peak at the major. They're going to Bucharest as well. I think they're going to where? Maybe they're in Chengdu. Let me have a quick look. I just remember seeing their name in a lot of places. So they're even at Hong Kong. They're at Hong Kong and Chengdu. So they're doing Chengdu and Blast Hong Kong, and then they'll go into the major, and they'll start from stage 3 by the looks of it, which is pretty damn good for them. So they're in a great spot for the major, obviously benefiting from the America side of things. But for them to survive anything at the major, I needed to see him again, a boot camp at Europe, and start to show something a bit better at these next few events, because they're doing a lot of events, by the way. That's Bucharest, Chengdu, and Hong Kong into major.
But the problem is that time is running out. Like, some of these teams, we see them, if they start dipping in form right now, they might, with a lot of work, be able to kind of hit a slight inconsistent peak for a major, but they're
Yeah.
never going to be like a title contender. They're not going to have the full map pool. They might have 3 or 4 maps that are really, really good, and they can maybe ride their way into a playoff, but they're never going to be competing, you know, for semifinals or something like that with that kind of form. It's going to be way too much holes in their game, even on a good day.
But that's so disappointing for a team that was top 4 at the last major.
Yeah,
Top
it
4 at the
is.
last major.
It is, especially, we were talking about them being possibly, the best Brazilian team.
Yeah.
Um, and now, I mean, it's not even a discussion. It's
No.
Furia. I mean, they're not even close to that level. So that's disappointing. And especially, they got the lineup changes they wanted, but something is off,
Yeah.
Maybe something has happened, for a player that kind of killed some of their practice time, or because it's not looking like they are fully ready for
Not at
the,
all.
the games they're going in.
Not at all. And then another team who I think is on the same kind of wavelength is Tyloo. Tyloo nearly lost the best of one against Fluxo. Yeah. Now, I know
Yeah.
Fluxo can be a wild team to play against, right? For sure. But the Tyloo we saw win Fissure, and then obviously the honest interviews that G is giving about like how they won, how they've dealt with it, the mentality, now trying to grow and learn as a team. It's like you win Fissure 1, you only beat Game Legion in Fissure 2, and then you come to CAC, which remember, it is home crowd, home country. Yeah. You lose to 2 teams who don't make playoffs themselves. Fnatic, they get 2-0'd by Fnatic, and they get 2-1 by FaZe. I'm looking at this and I'm ready to hit some alarm bells where maybe after the major, if the performance doesn't go well, because remember, they are in stage 2 of the major. Yes, they start from stage 2. If they don't, and I think they're doing Chengdu and let me look back at this. They should be doing Chengdu and Hong Kong, no doubt. Yep.
Let me
Chengdu
see.
1, and then yeah, they're in stage 2. They're doing Chengdu. They're doing Hong Kong. So like they're doing a lot of events again, and then they'll go into the major. I'm a little bit worried about them because it was such an exciting team to see them go further than other Chinese teams had, and to show themselves on a better level. To show that they could fight against like the Astralis games. They were beating Astralis consistently. And now it seems to, and I wouldn't even say like it's a predictable team. I would just say at times the individuals don't show up.
Yeah.
You're never getting the well, some I say can't say never because it does happen sometimes, but you're never getting the Jam Young G masterclass at exactly the same time. It's not happening as much as you want it to be, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they do go missing in these games.
No, I mean, there is. It's obviously they're in a tough spot. They're competing against a lot of different European teams now. It's not like they need to focus on one or the other. I just maybe it's kind of a same case. People are, maybe figure them out a little bit, but also, as
Mm-hmm.
you say, dropped a little bit in individual form. The one thing, like going into a major, that maybe we haven't talked about so much is like in a tournament like this, they have the pressure. When they go into a
Yeah,
major, they have zero pressure on them. They just have get to play their game. They have to just run the show. And in some sense, it's a huge advantage being an underdog in a major compared to a favorite.
true.
Um, so I'm not sure what my verdict on Tyloo is. I still think they're not like, obviously the Fluxo game is not great, but
Yeah.
are they that disappointing? I mean, they've been close, against Mongols, Liquids. Fnatic is still a good team, no matter how much you hate them. Um,
I don't hate the players, just hate the organization.
but they take a map against FaZe. It's I don't know, like, where is the expectation supposed to be on Tyloo?
I just thought for an event like this, I would have had them at least making playoffs, potentially going further forward than like maybe top 4. In the position where Heroic was.
Okay. But having, I would have seen them maybe make playoff if
Mm-hmm.
FaZe maybe didn't drop to the lower bracket. Let's
Yeah,
say
if it
they
wasn't their
played
elimination game.
Foot versus Tyloo. I could see
Yeah.
Tyloo winning that, in a
Yeah.
kind of a lower bracket final. Um, so they did get stopped by FaZe, right? And
Yes.
yes, they lost to Fnatic. But did their tournament overall is it that disappointing though?
It's not that disappointing, but I guess I had higher expectations because it was
I know you
Shanghai.
love G.
I do
You
love G.
love giving the
Definitely
man
love
ice
G.
cream.
Yeah, but I still want to see him win games. He's not going
Yeah.
to get ice cream if he keeps losing. That's not happening.
But I could see this bracket kind of turning into a way where Tyloo actually made it if a few of the results kind of shifted and they got a
But that's
quote
living in an
unquote
ideal
easier
scenario.
opponent in the lower
Yeah.
bracket.
Yeah. But talking from FaZe beating Tyloo, we got to talk about FaZe because I think you said something almost perfect, Devilwalk. That how bad would it be if they end up doing pretty okay, better than people expected at ESL Pro League with Rain standing in, and then they struggle here, and they did
Yeah.
struggle here, and obviously it's the full team right now. There's no Rain there. Jacob is back. Twist is playing, and you know what's crazy here is they lost to the same team twice. Now, fuck winning that best of one. I
The
could say,
way you
okay,
say
it's a best of
"fut,"
one.
man, it sounds like you're saying the FUCK word every
No.
single time.
Okay. FUT. I'm going to call them FUT. So,
Yeah.
FaZe lost to FUT in a best of one. Okay,
Yep.
that's fair enough. Whatever. Yeah, I can take that. They beat Bait. They beat Tyloo. But then in the best of 3, they also lose to him. And like, this is on land. This isn't some online game. This isn't something like crazy or wild out there. Now, I'm no way am I going to say alarm bells are ringing for FaZe, but I will say that I'm still waiting to see the Jacob that was promised. He's like, because Twist was there, Frozen was there, Brokey, like they're doing their work. But Jacob was under Carrigan on numbers. Now he must feel immense pressure considering what happened at ESL Pro League. Yeah.
But it's like the worst case
I know.
scenario for this player to step into this. It's the worst case. I painted this picture. I could see it through my third eye that this was going to happen. And I was like, no, please don't.
Not like this. Not like this. He was probably sweating as well, man. And you got to feel sorry for him because this is what happens. Some players come to a big name team. And remember, the difference is if you compare it to Manasi, Makazi, Kioski, anyone, yeah? They had these expectations on them from very early on that they were supposed to do well. Jacob was like a name out of a hat that they just saw and took. None of us had thoughts about how he would play or how well he would do. And then he's on FaZe. So then you go from 0 expectations on you to crazy through the roof expectations. Because everyone's looking at you like, you got picked up by FaZe. You're supposed to be great. You're going to be the next best thing. And he's thinking like, God damn, I was like, he wasn't ready for this. And I know they're playing as many events as possible to get him ready. But right now, we're a long way from that. And the major's coming up.
Yeah. But I will say, FaZe is not a team that's going to challenge for the major in the sense of winning it. I don't think they are even close to that right now.
True.
And I think they kind of need to make this kind of objective trial period, kind of like, how Blade has talked in interviews about, this is just a test, each chapter of a test almost until the major, which is the kind of the main test. I'm not sure exactly how he phrased it, but and I feel like FaZe needs to kind of cement that dialogue with their fans because the immense amount of pressure that's being put on Jacob with a legendary player like Rain, also it's coming out. It's not even Kerrigan or the team's decision. It's something from management.
Yeah.
It just every finger, even if it's a management decision, every finger will be pointing at a player, and there's a lot of pressure on Jacob right now, and especially with them. He kind of conceding his spot in the last tournament, and Rain
Yeah.
coming in.
Which we said respect to him for doing that, right? He helped all of
Yeah,
them out.
but it's just put him into the blast zone, and
Yeah. He
I
doesn't
feel
deserve
for
this, by the
him.
way. Because
I feel
if
for him. Yeah,
anyone, I'll ask anyone, right? If you're an up and coming player who wants to go pro and FaZe say, here you go, here's a contract, whatever, you're going to sign that, man. You're not going to
yeah.
be like, nah, that's too much. You might not be aware of all the things that are going to hit you. And that's why I'm not blaming him. But it's like, it doesn't look good right now. And obviously, they've got more events to do. They're not at Bucharest, but they're going to Chengdu. So they've tried to play a lot of events in order to get him better. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping, because remember, they don't do as many boot camps as, say, some other teams. I'm hoping they have one big boot camp before majoring and try and get him as comfortable as possible. Because if you can get him out of his shell and get him to play a little bit how he used to, we already know it's big shoes to fill stepping into Rain's position. Yeah.
Yep.
Rain was a safe pair of hands, but now there's a lot, and you're still so fresh. So I'm not complaining about this result from FaZe. It's just it's still disappointing when you see like Brokey, Twist, Frozen all doing what they need to do. All playing very well at
Well,
different points.
I still think that they should be in a final in this event, and anything
Yeah,
else is a massive
I predict
failure.
them to win. You predict them to
But
win.
I don't think the blame is on Jacob. He's put into
Yeah,
a really, really awkward situation. And you know, they need to kind of figure things out. And I think
yeah,
he's kind of had this shower of events where he's played now. He's obviously gonna have, what is it, Chengdu as well, and then the major. And like you
yep,
say, he needs some practice time. He needs to be able to yell in a safe space on a server and practice and kind of talk, ask questions. What do I need to do? How do I adjust? Have
yeah,
one-on-one sessions with the coach without it being so much on the line, to just get it into his system, so that's repetitive and automatic in some sense, that you
yeah,
don't have to think of it during a game, because that can block a player that is, he's obviously skilled. Like, he has the skill. It's
mm-hmm.
not about that. He was a really big player for, was BetClick. Yeah.
Yeah,
um so there's something there. It's just, I don't think it's a kiosk, it's not a donk, it's not something like that. It's gonna be a player they mold for the need they have in phase. And hopefully his personality can kind of shine through and kind of change the dynamic a bit for phase, for the better.
for sure.
um But yeah, it's a massive failure for them. They shouldn't be losing against Foot for twice in a row.
I can't wait till we talk about Foot later on, though. That's going to be good. Okay, we can go from FaZe to VP, because VP we're both so disappointed and down on. By the way, so I don't know if you saw this, but Icy was not supposed to play, right? We covered that. Then
Yep.
Icy did play because supposedly he had to play because of the whole change of players, The same thing that FaZe got hit by.
The invite thing.
So obviously he did have a visa because they brought the guy to come anyway. So there was no problems
That
here.
is.
I'm so confused by the VP. Like, VP right now, I don't know what's going on with these guys, but like from the incident they had at EPL to now this one, everything's very confusing. If I'm Icy as well, I'm thinking, like, obviously he knows more than we do, right? But this, like, I'd be thinking, I'm going to get kicked.
Yeah.
Like, if I have a visa, I could go to China, you weren't going to play me. What is the reason then you make me come play again? Like, this is so up and down. And like, I don't want to waste too much time talking about VP because it is wasting time. They beat the Huns, they lost the Legacy, they beat MIBR, and they lost 3D Max. Admittedly, 3D Max game was entertaining. I saw a chance where couple of rounds, couple of moments, even individual plays, then they could have won the 3D Max game. They could have taken it 2-1. Yeah. So I'm not
The
gonna be too harsh on them. I'm just gonna say it's the most confusing team. I still don't expect much from them. I'm still not gonna start believing in them or where they're at. But it's VP is just in a weird spot right now. Nothing makes sense.
But the one thing you can actually add on top of VP is that Perfecto, his performance level has increased and it's looking better.
And he's
Uh,
IGLing.
yeah, so in that sense, there's still some hope just because of that. Because if Perfecto can get the kind of outcome that he, obviously has had in the past, but we haven't really seen in quite some time, because he's a very very clutch player,
Yeah.
that can have an immense amount of impact, and he has all of that experience with him. So there's some good signs there, because if you look at it from just like a standpoint of electronic versus Perfecto, it looks
Mhm.
like Perfecto can have a bigger impact on the server as an individual than electronic, in the combination of being an in-game
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah, definitely. I think that also probably did more to the roles he plays as well and how he
Yeah,
plays Counter Strike. Very smart,
yeah,
It's
yeah,
in that supportive role is better for him to be able to do that. That's
yeah,
how maybe it's just suitable for him to call. But
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like no matter what's happening, no matter how they do, there's going to be some change going into next year again for VP. So let's just wait and see what happens. Because, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time talking about these guys. I don't know what's happening with them. It's like a coin flip every event we go to. Um, we can talk about who you saw more positively than I did, Fnatic,
Yeah.
because they beat Pain, they beat Tyloo, they almost beat Heroic. It's like that was such a crazy close overtime game on Mirage at the end. I do actually think they should have beaten Heroic because this is Heroic we're standing, but it didn't work out like that. And then they lose to 3D Max in the playoffs, who obviously go into the grand final. It's not terrible from Fnatic, but it is, I would say, I'll say this actually. Chicasmo wasn't like the reason that they lost. I think he held his own. He played
Yep.
okay. But I would say that the only difference between him and Cypher I'm seeing is that Cypher's peak can be higher at time, but it's not every game Cypher's delivering like that. You can go look at the matches, look at the stats. Sometimes he does have bad games as well. But I feel
I think
like
Cypher
there's
is maybe a
games,
little bit more streaky. Like he will have these
yeah,
games where he will carry the entire map or
just
match.
dominate. Just he
Yeah,
gets in that flow state and gets going.
but he'll also have a kind of a lower drop as well, Cypher.
Yeah.
Sometimes when he isn't feeling it, you'll get a little bit less from him.
Yeah, Jacasmo is
Um,
just kind of good across the board. So I think this Fnatic team can be happy with this performance,
yeah.
considering all the things they
No,
had to
but I
go
mean,
through.
you just look at it relative. Fnatic, what were they? They were number 21 on VRS going to this
Hmm.
tournament. There's obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams above them
Yep.
on the VRS going into this tournament, and they end up in a top 6 situation. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Now, what I would say is maybe the biggest surprise or most exciting team from this event was FUT. And I'm supposed to say FUT, but Devil keeps thinking I'm saying something else. So I'm just going to be calling FUT for now. So I don't look like I'm swearing the whole time.
Yep.
They had a pretty legit run, man, because everyone, by the way, I just saw so many people, oh, they beat FaZe, but it's a best of one, blah, blah, blah. People forget that this is the ex-Navi Junior lineup. Obviously, Makazi goes out. Navi sell their team because obviously how the VRS works. They didn't want a position where both teams will qualify for the major and then the boys don't get a chance to play because the main team would go. Yeah.
Yep.
Krebeni looks really good. Demon can look really good. Lounce with more experience, even though he's not as like a notable player, can, I'm not going to say he's like super impressive. I'm wowed by him, but I will say that he he probably adds a level to them of just knowledge that was probably missing that can help out, especially now you don't have the whole Navi organization behind them.
Can you tell me, guess,
Yep,
how old is Lounge?
bro. Oh, why do we always do this? I've got a page open, but I don't have him open. I'm gonna say 25.
He's 20.
What, bro? We spoke about him for years.
Yeah. So he's
See,
like
this,
he
by the way, this is another one of these deception players. I'm just going to call them
yeah.
deception players because, bro, he was on Sprout, Falcons. You know, he had a little time in the Nexus Romanian team, but like there was many times I heard like Lance has got a good potential. Lance has got a good future.
I see his first team
He's
was
still
in
20.
2021.
Yeah, that when I first remember him going to Sprout, like that's the first time.
Yeah,
That was
that's
2022.
2022.
So I just assumed by now he'd be, yeah, okay, mate. Well, he's got the experience on the server, so
Yeah.
that's probably helping in some way. They are also such a young team. That 18.8 is the average. So basically 19 years old is the average player age. Such a young team. Go to China, beat Pain, beat FaZe. Could have taken down Legacy, who then go on to win the whole thing as well. You know. Like they
No, it's
nearly
it's
had
a
the
really
2-0
good.
against Legacy. They nearly had it. They that Inferno is going to haunt them for so long. So long.
Yeah, I think for like FUT, they've been a team like in the ever since they switched to this organization, they haven't really found their groove. You know, you could point at Makase leaving, they haven't really found their fifth to kind of cement the lineup.
Yep.
Um, but they definitely haven't been looking as sharp as they were in the past, where I think they were hovering around like top 20, almost catching the main team of Navi in this kind of mouse NXT situation
Yeah.
of the past. And, you know, they dropped significantly in the rankings since that time. And it's good to kind of see them come back and show that because they obviously have quality players. They just haven't really gotten that fifth one to mesh them all together in the same way
Mm-hmm.
they were in the past. I think that can be quite a hard switch also to do because of the player that they had in Makase, who
Yeah.
was very fearless, who was willing to go first, who was willing to kind of take those risky kind of decisions kind of work out in his favor. Very X Factory based player. And losing someone like that, you can't just replace him with anyone. If your system is that, you know, you cannot
Yeah.
depend on something like that. Um, so in that sense, you know, they've obviously struggled to replace him. And I think with Lounge, they found a little bit of that X factor back a bit.
Yeah. I remember the Sprout manager years ago hyping up Lounge to me, and we saw moments of it. If you
Yeah.
can find some way of it, I can't believe how young he is. So sorry, Lance, that I thought you were so old, dude. It's just because I've been hearing your name for a long time, I've been watching you play for a while. But I am also getting very excited about Demon because
Yeah.
if Navi have been smart, which I assume they would have been, this sale of the team will also include a buyback clause like they have with Munacy. And then they could bring him back maybe to the main team if they want. Obviously, this is way in the future, but Demon's legit. I remember, I think there was one event 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe, where they brought Demon to Navi brought Demon to one of the big events to come watch the main team, to come see what was going on.
Ah.
Yeah, because that's how I remember him. A lot younger than what he is now. Again, I'm probably just adding up years and stuff wrong, but I mean, it's I think he's got it. You know, like when you it doesn't have to be the craziest rating. Like people are gonna go look and go, oh, he has like a 1.13 rating. But like some games, he's just unstoppable. Was it the FaZe game where he was popping off like crazy? I'd have to actually
Yeah, I
have a
think
quick look.
so.
Let
He
me go
was
through.
136 rating with a plus 4.3 swing.
See. So
But
yeah, I'm
yeah,
excited about this team, man. There's just a few players on there. There's a bit of chemistry being shown where I think, okay, they can cook a little bit. They can do some work here.
no, I think definitely they're good squad, and I enjoying watching them more and more. I think in the beginning it was a weird one for me where, you know, you go into this tier 2 tournament, start watching a little bit more of it, and then they were kind of disappointing when I've heard so much good from them. So it's
Yeah.
good to kind of see them back in that kind of original form where people were hyping them up, showing them a lot of love, and you know, you know pointing their finger isn't the right word, like at least showing me like, okay, this is a team you should look out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think this is one I am going to pay more attention to. If they're
Yeah.
getting more opportunities, there's other events they can go to that become interesting. All right, next from there, this is probably a big surprise to me, was Heroic making top 4. Obviously, Heroic had Hades standing in. He ended up being the highest rated player for the whole team. Nilo, your Swedish boy, was doing good job. You have a couple of Swedes on the team, not so much. The thing that was confusing here for me is I understand you have a stand-in player, but it was kind of like you made top 4, but you didn't wow me in any way. Who did they faced? So they beat Bait, FUT, and Fnatic, lost to Legacy, lost to Liquid. No shame in any of that. But it's like, if your stand-in's performing so well, are you then making him so comfortable that everyone else is uncomfortable?
Well,
Like,
to be completely honest, I think that Heroic were looking really bad before this event.
yeah, we had him.
Um,
I didn't have him making playoffs, that's for sure.
no, I thought they were kind of dropping. I think we've talked before about kind of the after effect of Saw leaving, and
Yes.
how gradually, that system is going to diminish in some sense, as they worked on replacing it and building
Mm-hmm.
bricks towards their own philosophy in some sense. So I think it's weird that they come in with a stand-in and almost look better than, even though they didn't maybe wow, but you know they're still getting a pretty decent results in this tournament, and
Yeah.
you have to respect that. And I mean, they even took a map against Legacy, right, in the semifinal. Um, so there was even some potential for them to win this event, in essence, and that's probably a worrying sign for, wait, what's the name? Alcaran is the opener, right?
Yes.
Probably a worrying sign for him, because Hades is probably looking for a team.
Oh, definitely. He had his stand on G2. Now he's had his stand in here. Performed a lot better here than he did for the G2 side. Obviously, it's less good opposition, so you got to take that with a pinch of salt as well.
Yeah,
But I'll say, like, for Heroic, this is a good performance. I still got to look at them going into the future tournaments. Like, I'm not going to be any harsh critic of them right now, but let's see what happens when they come back together. If it's the full team, how they're going to approach things, what they're going to do before the major. Um, they will be playing at PGL as well, so we'll cover them a little bit later at the same time. But let's find out and see. From there, the team that beat them for the third place, Liquid. Do you know, I kind of feel bad for Liquid in some aspects, because Liquid's run, where are they? On my stuff here. Liquid's run, they go straight through the semifinals. Yeah.
yeah.
So they beat Game Legion, MIBR, and they beat Legacy, who obviously we know end up winning the whole tournament. Then they face in the semis 3D Max. They lose that. And it's like, I think if they'd made grand finals, they would have won it. I felt, honestly, when FaZe were out, I looked at the bracket, I looked at the fact that Liquid was starting in semis, and I was like, okay, this would be like because obviously with 3D Max being on the same side of bracket of them, I'm looking at Liquid and thinking, you are in a good position. This is so nice for you.
Yeah.
And they've got experienced players. They're not going to be scared of the crowd. They're not going to be scared of and remember, you might, the first day of playoffs in the arena, no crowd. They didn't sell enough tickets or something, or maybe not having the bigger enough names there. That's what I saw from Chinese social media, that they didn't open on that first day. And then they opened that it was still only like 60%, 70% of the arena that was filled out. So
Okay.
Liquid, I'm thinking, cool, on a stage. They get the crowd as well. This is going to be fun for them. I'm not going to say disappointed they lost to 3D Max, but it's like NAF had a good series, a good game all across. Elise had some good moments as well. Almost all the players except, I don't want to misquote here. All the players except Nerds had moments where things were good. So Nerds was the one struggling. I didn't see all the Liquid games. I saw the 3D Max game. Remember, this was very, very early, and I was just going through surgery.
Yeah, I'll say I'll mostly watch results on this CS Asia, except if there've been a game where I've woken
Yeah.
up. But brain translating CS just as you wake up is also a bit of a hassle.
But I
Um,
don't think this was a disappointing result for Liquid.
no,
I
I
think this
actually
is
think
just
this is a good one.
yeah, it's a step by step, you know? It's not a
Yeah,
huge
because
jump up and they're going to go dominate, but this is progress.
I think every single tournament we've kind of seen them. I mean, this is even with twists. They've looked better and better. They've had more potential, against the bigger teams. And I think your boy Flash has started to improve them. You kind of see his work kind of
I knew it.
gradually be implemented and take effect. And I think that's what we're seeing this here because they are looking more and more consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, they are playing in some of the bigger tournaments. Obviously, they also have some of the smaller tournaments as well, kind of mixed in there. But I definitely see improvements, and I think they're on the right path. If they'll be ready for a major, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, this was
Uh,
only the second event, right, for Elite. Birch
yeah,
Cup, which was that small Polish land into CAC. Both they finished third on. Maybe they feel a little bit cursed, but it's still early. I think this is still stepping stone, so not too bad at all.
no, I think it's good.
All right, getting on to the grand finalists. 3D Max. Well, I wasn't surprised to see him in a final. I actually thought it might be either Tyloo FaZe in my delusional brain or 3D Max FaZe being in the final. 3D Max, I think they're definitely not going to be happy because they're very realistic. They'll be like us. They'll be looking, seeing the teams and players that are here and think, we should be winning this now. There's no FaZe, We already beat Liquid. We're through. I think they're just going to be sad because it's not once, but twice they lost their legacy. A best of 3 and a best of 5 in a final. And I'll say the weirdest thing is they kept winning each other's picks. So this was like a complete coin flop. Sorry, a complete coin flip. See, these fucking painkillers, they're killing me.
You can't blame
But
everything on painkillers, man.
I can't. Bro, I'm drowsy as by the way, I'm not allowed any caffeine either. I'm allowed
That's
no
crazy
caffeine
talk.
right now. No caffeine, no alcohol.
Are you not allowed to, or?
No, not allowed to. Not while I'm on all these tablets. So I've got to
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
I've got to wait like two weeks. By the way, it's like this is going to be off topic, but I'm on a liquid diet, so no carbs, no like I'm just having soups and like yogurts and things. So, bro, when this 2 weeks is up, I'm gonna get the biggest kebab, and I'm gonna go. Da, 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 da,
But
da.
you've hyped up Ukrainian soups, so should
Yeah,
be
yeah.
all
Borscht
Gucci.
is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm eating good, but I mean, I'm gonna live for something else. So let me talk about the last two maps in particular because, like I said, 3D Max picked Nuke, Legacy win it. Dust 2 was picked by Legacy, 3D Max win it. Inferno was picked by Legacy, 3D Max win it. Train was picked by 3D Max, Legacy win it. Then we get on to the Ancient Decider. It looked to me is in the last two maps that Brazilian energy, that Brazilian strength powered them through, and 3D Max didn't have it anymore because especially on Ancient, 10-2 CT side, 3D Max were like lost. They were out of the game. They didn't have the answers. Now, the crazy thing is, both these teams play Ancient, but they both play it to a very bad level. Like, this is like some face it pug, just maybe a bit above level 10 stack going in there. This wasn't anything to be wowed about. It was just individual moments of brilliance. And that was it. That's all that can be said for it. And in that sense, 3D Max tripped and fell, where Legacy hyped themselves up and kept pushing on forward. And that's what impressed me the most about this win.
Yeah, I mean, and Legacy, they are a very, they're momentum based teams as much as I've seen them. When things go good, they might as well win a map 13-1 as lose as 13-1 in sometimes when I watch them. I think they have a little bit more consistency now than previously.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still in that essence of momentum. They need to get fired up. They need to be in that headspace for things to go
Yeah,
well. And I think it's a really tough team to play a long series against.
definitely.
Just because playing a match or like I don't know exactly how long this actual match was, but it's probably up to 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. And playing a best of three where you if you play against Navi, for example, you can
Hmm.
kind of, things are gonna make sense. They might be tricky, but things are gonna make sense. They're not pushing through smokes all randomly and stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
Playing against a legacy where anything can happen at any moment in time, you are going to have lapses of focus where you're
Yep.
not on it, um, during a 5-hour session on Counter Strike. That's just
Yeah.
the reality. And playing a team that is so aggressive and so kind of, you know, r- random is the wrong word, but aggressive, I guess, it's really tough. It's
But
really, really
it's
tough.
you'd explain it as like annoying to play against, your favorite word with this, right? Because they do this crazy stuff. They do this like you least expect what's going to happen, and they do it, and they play off
Yeah,
a
but
lot
it's
of intuition.
also, I think the worst part playing against this team sometimes, or these kinds of teams, is maybe you're expective, you're applying a counter, but they have so snappy, momentum based individuals that they just win your counter. Even they walk into your counter, you figure
Yeah.
them out, and you still lose the round. And you just look at your teammates going like, how did we just lose this? You know,
Hmm.
and I think that is draining. If anything is draining, is knowing that you've got them in, in kind of a brain lock, and they somehow end up winning anyways.
Just checking this as well because I remember it. There wasn't even so many like crazy clutches. There was just so many. So on train, when we got towards the end of it, it was 3 clutches that went the way of Legacy. But in all the other maps, there was like next to no clutches, like 1, 2 clutches. That was it
Let
the
me
whole time.
see entry stats. Entry stats were actually they were actually in 3D Max's favor.
That's wild. That's wild.
But one thing you can say about 3D Max is, we've talked, I think, 2 podcasts episodes. I can't remember if they were in a row or separate about
Hmm.
3D Max and Body having to be that, guy
Yeah,
that
the next
steps
one.
up his performance for them to be a title contender. And I
Yeah.
think it's looking that way. I think he's looked much better in the enter department. He's
We
looked
said that last. We said
sharper.
that last episode. I remember now. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a great sign for them. I think he can keep this up. They are a dangerous team,
Yep.
even for people in within the top 10. Um, because I think all the other, guys, they have shown that they can have those individual performances at times. We hyped up Exercise last time. Maka has been crazy. Lucky can have those moments where he takes over games, and Gravity is kind of new to this IGL role and
Yeah.
dropped a little bit in performance, but we know he has that skill within him to have those performances.
Definitely.
So I think overall they're kind of a nice package. I look at them similar to Mouse in some aspect, where everyone can kind of have individual impact in some
Okay. Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they don't have a true star player.
Yeah, and I want to see Maka be the one that can become more of that. I want to see because he's now freed up, and at times he looks so good. And I think that his understanding of how to play now, when he doesn't have to IGL and manage all the other stuff, is going to help him excel better in the rest of it out as well. I
Yeah,
feel like you said about Body, I completely agree. We're starting to see that more. And this is where they now put themselves as for these smaller, not full tier 1 tournaments where they can be favorites going into things. Where before I didn't have them. Remember, last episode I told you, I just feel like they'll mess up somewhere. Now, messing up in the grand final, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about that at all. And
I'll even say that they are, in some sense, the Aurora of last season.
okay, okay.
Like, I can
Not as
see
many
them
big playoffs,
make a
not
lot of
quite there.
playoffs, be, you know, in the groove of things, but maybe not really clinching, a title, but they'll
Yeah.
be there and they'll be annoying for teams.
You're still way more positive than I am on them, but I will say this is a positive step for them.
Yeah, I think they've hovered, for a long time as a team, they've hovered around that top 20 mark, and they've finally
Hmm.
kind of broken out and looked a little bit better in my eyes. I mean, they've probably been around the top 10, 15 mark for quite a while actually, but I feel like now they've taken a little bit of an extra step forward.
And that brings us nicely on to Legacy and the crazy run they had here and the dominance they showed and the consistency they showed across the whole event. They only lost to Liquid, and that put them in the quarters instead of the semis. And they still made it to playoffs. And then they came through. Now, admittedly, they didn't have to face Liquid again, being on the other side of the bracket, but they built 3D Max, not once but twice, obviously in the grand final as well. VP, FUT, Heroic. They came through looking super impressive. And we've been waiting to see this since the last major. I think that's the craziest thing, right? Is that we've been talking about Legacy. We always just spoke about Demao and Lato. But okay, Lato ends up winning MVP. This was a good team performance. This was an impressive final. This was that Brazilian storm that the fans talk about so much. This was that energy. That was the belief. There were so many good moments from this. It was a feel-good win, but I didn't even have them making playoffs. This was unexpected. This was hugely surprising.
No, 100%. I mean, it's almost like Legacy has that repeat in the same kind of avenue as Pain, but they just know when to kind of peak in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they are getting ready for the major, for making sure they're in good form around this time and doing it in the right way, which is, I mean, it's a skill set in itself. Even though because I haven't really thought about Legacy that much performance wise since that major at all.
No, we
I'm not even
touched on them
sure
at a
they
couple of
have.
events they attended, but they've not been at big events.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one, but they're definitely getting hyped up when the major closes in. So
Yeah.
no, but they've been great. I mean, it's one of those teams where I still think, I touched on it. They're very momentum based, but they have some
Yeah.
great individuals who's always been kind of hyped up as individuals that's gonna make it in the scene at some point, like Demao, Lato. Obviously, they have Lux as well. They have a really well-rounded squad when things look good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and this event, it most certainly did.
And I'll say this for Lux. He leaves Pain. There was rumors. This is not what I have as any truth anywhere, by the way. This is just what I was reading online, that like he had too much of a voice in the team. Well, he already said to me in an interview back when he first joined Legacy that he was the second caller in Pain, right? So he was trying to help out with all that stuff. So this was natural for him to go and be the IGL of Legacy. But like Demao had said how many times, like Lux will tell him, make this play, do this play, go from here, do this. This is back at the Austin Major when we did interviews. Lux ends up leaving Pain, going to IGL, a new team, and winning a tournament before they do, where Pain was much higher on our expectations. I know it's not the biggest tournament, but also Pain was there at the same event, which is a big showing. This is a huge confidence boost and a belief boost for these guys. And I'm not going to put them now in title contention for big events. I'm not going to be delusional, but I'll say that it does spark my interest a little bit more. Now something's gone ding. Okay, it's not. You're not just like a one major run and done. You've actually been able to work on some things. I know when they were doing some of the European events, they were spending their time boot camping here as well. I think that this win is huge for them. Lato getting MVP is like a nice icing on top of it all. I feel like just the emotions they had. Like I tweeted out about 3 feet pics from Demao because he like went on stage, did the shaking hands, then went to lift the trophy. He had no shoes on, just bare feet the whole time.
That's crazy, by the way. But
if you were
I'm
ESL
all I'm
blast or someone, you
always
get banned. You get like a fine.
I'm not going to speak because I've done other things, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still think it's crazy.
I think it's amazing though. He was just so in the moment. His brain was, I've just won a tournament. First time in my career. It wasn't put my shoes back on or I'm going to get a fine or I'm going to get in trouble. Well, hopefully, by the way, in China, they didn't fine him or anything. I don't know the rule books, but I know like last ESL, they don't allow Crocs. I love Crocs,
Yeah.
by the way, but they don't allow Crocs. But I don't know what's going to happen to him with bare feet. I'm sure everyone enjoyed it because it was just his emotions and wildly running around. The only sad thing is that I would say it wasn't the biggest crowd for them to do it in. I know they thanked the crowd and they enjoyed it, but it was like I was hoping it would be more full than what it was. But it is a lesser event. It's not the major again. They're using the major arena, so I can't expect them to have been able to pull off the same stops. But I think overall, for the event and the size it was and how it went down, it had a great storyline in the end. It showed us some different levels of teams. It showed us some teams we don't normally look at. It showed us some development of teams we have been seeing a lot this year.
I'll
So
give you
overall,
a
for me,
little
this
bit of
is a good event.
yeah, it's a great event. But a fun fact
Mm-hmm.
just about this, right? So Legacy won the tournament but lost
Yep.
7 maps. Isn't that kind of crazy?
So they were losing, but they never 2-0'd?
Never.
That's crazy. So they were on
So
the edge the whole time.
so they lost 7 maps. They won, let's see here. Obviously 1, 3, 4, 6, 8. 10 maps, lost 7, and won the event. They won 10 maps, lost 7.
That's crazy.
That's a pretty insane. I don't know how to kind of view that. But I will still say it comes down to their kind of inconsistent way of approaching things.
Yeah.
This is kind of what you
Bit up
bring
and
into
down.
the things with the way you play Counter Strike. Things like this gonna happen. But that to me is an outrageous stat to win a tournament going 10-7
Hey,
in
they like
maps.
playing Counter-Strike. They like
But,
playing
but, but you know,
Counter-Strike.
like if you play like a league and you have a league table, that probably
Yeah.
sit like
Middle of the
somewhere in
pack.
middle of the pack kind of thing.
No, I think that they play some risky Counter-Strike.
Yeah,
It's not always pretty. It's not beautiful Counter-Strike, but their
but
belief in each
it can be
other,
fun to watch. It can
it can be
definitely be
very
fun.
exciting. It can be
Yeah,
very fun. Let's see how they do next time when they come up against bigger opposition, when they come back into the major, what they can do. But this is something that can change things within the team and can change things for the individuals, which could take them to a step further, And that's what I'm excited for. And I think Lato fully deserves the MVP. I know people were looking down the whole stat lines and saying like, "Oh, how did he get MVP?" But it's like he was by far the best player, and he had the impact in there. Like he was way above Dumal, he was way above Nissim. So this is a good run for him. By the way, I
yeah.
don't know what this is, but in recent times, people are just always saying it should be someone else for MVP. Like, yes, okay. I can see that you guys might look at the stats and you say, oh, MPL, he was a 133 rating. He should have been MVP. He played 4 maps, guys. He wasn't even in the playoffs. And then someone else is like, well, what about PlayMF? And I'm like, guys, this is not how this works. They're not making the final, and just being that high up isn't going to get you it. Like, it doesn't work that way.
No.
We don't fully know how all of this MVP stuff's done, but I'll just tell you what doesn't work. I can tell you that. It is like that. But overall, CAC was good fun. Crazy timings as always. Nice that it was back in the major venue. I do like that. That was cool to just kind of relive that, look at it all. And then we go from one Brazilian success to another. This time, though, we go to Thunderpick. This was over in Malta. I caught pretty much all of the playoffs. We can start with our predictions, but this was kind of easy. We predicted all the favorites to win the games: Furia OG, Mongols 9Z, NAVI Imperial, Aurora Venom.
Well, the
And
overall winner should be
no,
read in our
yeah,
documents.
we'll do that in a bit. We'll do that in a bit. I understand that one. So obviously we thought all the favorites would win. The problem with Thunderpick was the teams that qualified to the event were like so far below the other teams that came from VRS. So like there's 4 teams from the closed qualifiers: OG, Imperial, 9Z, and Venom. 66, 51st, 31st, and 34 in VRS. Yeah. Going up against number 5, number 3, number 9, number 8 in
Yeah.
Mongols, Furia, Aurora, Navi. So yeah, you expected the playoffs to look like it did. You expected this event to be a bit more one way. But we both predicted Navi. Now, I understand why I predicted Navi. You also thought Navi, maybe off the back of winning Star Ladder, could find something with it all.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Oh,
watched Navi like a lot now
yep.
recently, so I've just seen the signs that they might be able to clinch a win against even the Mongols, Aurora, and Furia. Felt like they had what it takes, especially with kind of Mongols and Furia. Have had a little bit of a dip in form just
Yep.
prior to coming into this event. Kind of gave Navi, in my opinion, a little bit of an edge, but just slightly. It wasn't like an overly convincing estimation. But yeah, I mean, we did pretty good prediction wise on this event. Except, I mean, where do we want to start with this? Do we want to just skip straight to playoff, or
Yeah,
because
go straight
there's
to playoffs because the group stage was just like playoffs ended up being Furia, Aurora going up against Navi, Mongols in the semis. We can start with the Furia Aurora game.
yeah,
There are still problems, glaringly obvious problems for Aurora. Um, and it's not just like people love to point out, oh, it's just Madja. They need to change Madja. Like he's the dude. We can't have Zantares going missing this much. Yeah. We can't have it only be a Woxic show. We can't like there are moments within this where it's not down to the calling only. It's not down to the calling only at all. Like I would say you look at the overall stat line and say, oh, Santaros didn't play badly, right?
yeah,
But he also went missing in important games, important maps. He can have a great showing here and there. I'm not expecting him to carry every single game like he's still young and playing super good, but he is a star. And I'm not putting it all on Madja. I would say Madja said it in his own exit, right? I think, what was he said it on his Twitter? Let me just bring it up quickly. He said, tough time that we have to face until the major. We lack a lot of things right now, but I do give all I have, but it's not enough. We'll fly to PGL in 4 days. The story at Malta ending sadly. When you play good and have good messages, it's nice. Sorry, that's my diabetic alarm going off in my pocket. When you play bad and losing, criticism needs also to be accepted. He's very real. He's very honest with it all. And we always respect that about Madja.
yeah.
But it's not just him. And it
No,
could be mentality with this team because you would then go, you see them play against this Furia. And honestly, I don't care what the scoreline was. It looked like they had no chance.
yeah. I
Like
mean,
Molodor is
that's
a specialist on train, by the way. Absolute specialist.
it's accurate, and I mean, the question I kind of pose Aurora, or I pose to this game is like, if Aurora was in a group stage match against Furia, would
Mhm.
this game have looked differently? Because it
But there's no
always
crowd.
no, but it's still a playoff game. They still have struggled in any playoff. It's
Yeah.
like they get to a quarter or semi, and
GG.
yeah. And I mean, I
Except
fully
for
agree
Esports
with you.
World Cup.
You're not gonna win games against any top team or top 10 team in the world. It doesn't matter if it's 3D Max or whatever it is, if your absolute star player is not showing up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he needs to have a good performance for them to have
Yep.
a chance. I can't remember
100%.
what was the event Aurora won earlier in the year.
They didn't win. They never won.
They
That's the whole
never
thing
won.
with Aurora. They've never won. They came second to Esports World Cup.
Oh,
They've never won.
they won Blast Bound. No, that was
No, second
just
place there as well.
yeah, yeah. Oh my god, yeah, they did. Oh, they won Galaxy Battle 2025 starter.
That's not an event. That's not an event. Yeah, dude. We already went with the Navi Star Series one, right? That's as far down as we get. Yeah, no,
Okay.
you can't. You can't.
Okay, but I mean, it's a repetitive kind of showing where I was a big lover of Aurora when they were back in when Anubis was in the map pool. They looked
Yep.
really strong, looked like they could upset any team in the world. Right now, it's like a maybe they'll get a map against equal footing teams almost. Feel like
Mm-hmm.
they're they're always going to be an underdog in my eyes right now, against kind of like an equal ranking.
Also, having to pick Train against Furia, it's like that's the worst matchup for them because Furia also love Train.
Yeah.
So like it's always
No, I
going to be
think
hard anyway.
they're in huge trouble with their map pool. I think we even
Yeah,
referenced this last episode,
you did. Yeah, you
uh,
did.
where I just don't know where what map are they the best on. Obviously, it is Train, but there's a lot of good teams on Train. I mean, if you would go up against Vitality, uh, they're really good on Train as well.
Yeah.
Go up against Furia, obviously, as you mentioned, really good on Train. Even if they would have gone against,
Navi play Train.
Navi, they didn't even pick Train. They picked Mirage. And it's like, where's the
Well,
home
Navi
map?
did show some weaknesses on Mirage, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's still, this event now we were really good on Mirage, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I
They
think they
turned it
only,
around.
yeah, they did turn it around. But yeah, I think that's the biggest issue with Aurora is I don't really see them have this map because where you're just like, okay, we're gonna pick this, we're gonna win this. Maybe we'll, be able to clinch a map of theirs, like if we prep really, really well.
Yeah.
Um, but it's almost like they have to put their prep work into their home map too much. That yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
I
looking good.
and I feel like it's kind of unlucky they have PGL Bucharest next, but I'm hoping because I got to keep checking this. There's so many events at this end part of the year. Where are they going after Bucharest? Because they're probably going to do Chengdu. No, they're at PGL. So okay, they're at PGL. Then they're going to have a break because they're not at Bucharest. They're not at Chengdu. So they're at Bucharest, not at Chengdu, not at Hong Kong. That means you can take a break and then grind out for stage 2 of the major, which you absolutely must do.
Yeah, it's probably the best
So
case scenario for them. And
this is actually pretty good planning. This I respect. And the performance coach can do some work. The psychologist can do some work. Because a lot needs to happen and a lot needs to change for this team.
yeah,
And then I think just because we're talking about them, they obviously go into the third place game. Where do I have it?
guess Venom.
No. What are you on about? Venom didn't make top 4, bro. They weren't even playoffs.
Oh yeah, we're
They
skipping the
played
group stage.
Mongols.
Sorry,
They played Mongols.
I'm sorry.
You just lost.
I just skipped into
Yeah,
the
we agreed
the
not
group
to do
stage.
groups.
Yeah. I'm back
So,
now. I'm back online.
They just about win Inferno, goes into overtime 16-14. They lose Mirage against Mongols. Watching this nuke, I'm surprised they made it to overtime. Like, Mongols could have and should have closed it out. Mongols were pulling off some dirty moments in that game. And yes, it was nice. When you look at this, you might think, oh, it was a close game. They should have lost it at like 13-10 to Mongols. Let me have a look at it. Where was it? Yes, so it should have been 13-9 to the Mongols. And they pulled off some great rounds and they pulled their way back into it. Mongols were winning most of the clutches throughout the game, despite how many openings that Aurora was able to have. It got
Yeah.
a bit messy. They were taking a lot more space on the map as well for Nuke, especially on their CT side. Like, they'd lose some space, they'd take it back. They were doing things correctly, but they still ended up losing it. They still ended up going out in fourth place. Mongols take the third place, which is obviously big movement for them. I'll just say that
But it's a
it's a tough
difference
one.
also with Santaris. Now he shows up in this game. He obviously has,
Yeah.
opening kills 17-10. He's winning in multi-kill scenarios. He's constantly there, like bringing impact. And then they have a chance. But if he
Yeah.
is not like giving your team like a 125 performance, you don't even have a chance against this type of team.
But then Woxit was also missing. Europa was missing,
Yeah.
I know it's not always going to get all the stars aligned, everyone's playing at the right time. But this is just a constant problem for this team right now. And maybe after Bucharest, then we'll obviously revisit them after how they perform at Bucharest. But that time off's probably going to be very valuable for these guys. So let's go from them to Mongols. Because Mongols played against Navi again. They played at EPL, if you remember.
Yeah.
Navi got a 2-0 win there. They took a map. Mongols took a map from Navi. They 13-3'd them on Navi's pick of Nuke. This is very crazy, wasn't it? This is just like, then the Ancient happens. And honestly, despite how good the first half was from Na'Vi, I felt like on the CT side it was slipping away. Mongols were fighting back into it. And I think Alexi said himself in the interview, like it was just the key rounds that they won that helped them take it, because this was a very hard match for them against Mongols. And it could have easily been Mongols winning that series. I don't think there's anything bad about Mongols in this. I think this is just a split and a fight between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, the form diff is what's kind of bridging the gap for Navi in some sense.
Yeah.
And also that they fixed their Mirage so well that they can, beat Mongols on it. That's like a
Who's always picking it?
huge,
Who's
yeah,
always picking it?
always picks it. And I mean, everyone struggles with Mongols Mirage, and Navi kind of figure them out and get a win on it is massive.
I'll say this because I spoke to Immer about it. I was just messaging him, right? And
Yeah.
like I said, his Mirage performance was insane. 1.85 rating. And he himself was like, yeah, I played like a bot on Nuke though. Dude, he had 0.31. He did. You went from 185, you spent everything, and then you just went missing. To be fair, almost everyone went missing except for Wonderful on the Nuke. But I'll give this as well. Wonderful had a great showing almost all tournament long.
Yeah.
Almost all tournament long. And I guess that can take us nicely into the grand final, because this was painful. Every map was very one-sided, every map. Me and you were texting, right? What did you say to me on the last two maps?
Well, I think I texted you like mid nuke or something.
Mm-hmm.
And let me actually pull it up. What did I say? Where did I say this?
It was in the All About Counter-Strike podcast chat, and you said that it felt like Navi was running out of steam, or ran out of
Yeah,
steam.
but it felt like that, and I mean, I understand
Oh.
why to some sense because I rewatched the nuke even today,
Mm-hmm.
and there were so many rounds that they could have won on that nuke. Like an
Yeah.
insane amount of rounds where it felt like Furia was just getting either the clutches or kind of the like there was one round where Yakindar, he kind of just swings out on Wonderful with 8 HP from under heaven. He kills one, he goes up, he's kind of lurking around trying to stay alive, and two of the Navi players, they just go ramp under heaven, and Yakindar just walks down the ladder, kills another guy, and walks up. This is a round like they probably should have won this round,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole T side from Navi would have looked a lot different. And there was a bunch of like 1v2 clutches from Navi that is a little bit more 50-50. I think even there was a 1v3 that Alexi on the lower side could have won. There was a 1v2 on the upper bomb side. So a lot of the Furia rounds were actually them being in these like one or two guys alive or 3-on-3
Yeah.
scenarios with bomb planted for Navi. And just every single situation, Furia won. Um, and I understand why they kind of run out of steam after something like that happens, where you're putting yourself in the right areas, you're taking the right map control, you are constantly being in after plan situation, which is you obviously the end goal for a team um, being on the T side. You just
Mm-hmm.
want to put yourself in the scenarios where you could win a round. And I think Navi did that on Nuke. And I understand why it's so frustrating that I could probably see this being even an 8-4 half for Navi on the T side with how they played.
But look at this, right? We learned after the final, Molodoi, reason he was in a jacket and stuff, he was feeling sick all that day.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you this because Molodoi would have no problem with this. I know him pretty well. I was messaging him, and he says, it's hard to play with temperature, but I managed it. My character helped me a lot to do it and get ready. And also his team helped him a lot to get ready, because Fallen on that nuke, he was pulling off everything.
Yep.
The clutches going his way, the impressive moments of an individual. Like, while they're like, look at Nuke, yeah? Fallen 1.53 rating. Yuri and KSCERATO doing well. Molodoi and Yakinda nowhere to be seen. Had Fallen not had a game like that, because you're not expecting that from Fallen, right? You're not expecting those kind of numbers. Had Fallen not done that, NAVI would have won that map. It would have been 3-0 to NAVI. So he deserves so much credit as the IGL, as now a rifler, pulling off that kind of performance, save them. And then what was crazy, so they didn't get 3-0'd. Molodoy, Dust 2. Let's have a look what he was doing. Molodoy, 1.30 rating. Yakinda also, by the way, 1.46. Not going to ignore him here. Then Train, his speciality. He can do anything on that map. He is everywhere. He is just depending on his spawn, jumping into B.
15% swing on Train.
Bro, I would love to know, and I will ask him this when I see him next. Like, how is it on Train? Do you say you want to do this because of the spawn? Is Fallen telling you to do this? Because he was at B, like the exact time Navi go B. He's then on Ivy when Navi trying to go Ivy. Dude, he's a monster on this map. And I'll say, this is where Blade says Navi doesn't have the map pool. No, it's not just about map pool, Blade. I'm sorry, mate. It's also a bit of your team is tilting. And we've 100%. Spoken about this before. Wonderful tilting, bit tilting. We've got, like, you can see them from behind, and obviously you can hear them. So, yes, Blade, you know better. But I'm seeing from the cameras that they are just frustrated. They are maybe not, like, the one positive I saw, there was a moment Alexi looks at the camera before the game started on Train, and he was kind of smiling. Well, that smile quickly was frowns again. And this team doesn't pick themselves back up again. Now, let me check. Is Ula
But
there?
I feel like if you would pick any team out of, let's say, like top 15, which team would you be able to make the longest rage compilation from just camera views?
Definitely Navi.
Yeah?
Definitely Navi.
I am inclined to agree.
Mate, so I'm just having a look. Ursula's their manager, their performance coach, right?
Yeah.
And she wasn't able to come to the event. Okay. So she can't help out at these points. Yeah. But I mean, this is an event where that might have been a bit difference between them losing or winning. But I'll just say at that point, if Wonderful had performed better in the grand final, they would have had him, they would have won the tournament, and he would have also been MVP. So there's also maybe some performance side of things to look at with Wonderful. Because up until that point, I think he was like 1.20 rating for the whole tournament. And if he'd kept this up, he would have been able to be the reason they could have won it and got MVP himself, his first career MVP. It's a consistent problem now. And I will look at this as a Navi fan and say, overall, second place here is pretty positive. But the fact they were up 2-0 in maps, they got reverse swept and dunked on at the end, and the team broke apart. This team, the team that was winning in 2024 everything and became team of the year and won the major, was the team that was together and was believing with each other. And Bit as one of the most experienced players on that team, if you think of all he did with the 2021 roster as well, he should also be more together. It's just frustrating now.
So I saw something on the Reddit earlier today.
Okay.
So this is what it says. I have not fact checked this, so just take it with a grain of salt, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In the whole history of CSGO/CS2, a best of 5 reverse sweep at the tier 1 event has only happened 5 times.
One was VP.
Navi were the losing team in 3 of them.
Oh, gosh. One of them was VP one, right?
Let me check. They have a IMGR here. One is against Astralis in ESL Pro League Grand Final in 2020. One was in IM Beijing 2020 versus Vitality. And the Furia one.
Oh, this is reverse sweeps only in best of 5s, right?
Yes, only best of 5s.
Okay, that's fine. Mine was the best of 3 I was remembering, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to disagree with him on this either. This is a problem, but this is not just this is a Navi across the board thing. because there are many different iterations of the lineup there.
Yes.
Like it's sad. And by the way, full credit to Furia because, like I said, what Fallen did on the nuke into Molodor and Yakinda coming alive on Dust 2 and Train, and then being able to. By the way, KSCERATO and Yuri just ever so consistent across the whole tournament as well. Like hugely consistent.
Yeah, I think they're a really, really good pairing, and they always have been. I think Yuri has been slightly underrated for a long time. KSCERATO has obviously had his flowers, and everyone's hyped him up, but Yuri's been incredible in this Furia.
But Yuri's the one with MVPs from the COVID North America series time. He has 3 of them, I believe. Molodor, by the way, also similar to Wonderful. If he performed better in the grand final, he would have been the MVP player. So people will look at this again, and I already saw these comments. Oh, Yuri had 1.20 rating across the whole event, and KSCERATO was 1.18. Why did KSCERATO get the MVP? Because KSCERATO in the playoffs, now it's only a couple of games, but KSCERATO in the playoffs was better, and his impact was better in those games.
And they are kind of weighted a little bit more.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's better opponents.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. 1.35 to Yuri's 1.44. Yeah. And then KSCERATO 1.21 to Yuri's 1.19. So I agree with this MVP as well. I agree that KSCERATO gets his first ever MVP, by the way, considering how long he has been playing at the top and at top events, and how long we have hyped him up as being one of the Brazilian, like him and Yuri are the duo. Him and Yuri are the Brazilian masterclass. And now he finally gets one. Well played, man. You deserve it. But Navi threw. And I won't say the tilt was the only reason they threw on Nuke, because Fallen obviously giving him his respect. I tweeted it as well. But I will say,
can you give me like a proper I love Navi HLTV forum rant about this throw?
I'll say, like you said, it was. You said that this was like them not having the map pool. You said what I forget. So my brain is cooked, man. I'm opening our podcast chat. You said it was today, yesterday. Ran out of steam. That's what you said. Sorry to come back to it. I'm just going to say this was tilt. I'm going to say this was the same problems we keep seeing with this Navi. I'm going to say this was unacceptable that like they can't come together on this. And by the way, Makazi played pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at the first 2 maps of Navi, right? I think one of the things I even said in our Discord was like how scary Navi is, especially in like Inferno. Mm-hmm. They lose an entry, they kind of fail their execute, they get blocked. Then they kind of reorganize and just cleanly, like really good spacing and really good timings, get into the site and just make it. Even if they would have lost a man at each kind of segment, they would have 100% traded. Like 10 out of 10 times. Just how well they kind of reorganize and restructure the way they're hitting the site. I feel like some of that is missing the longer the best of 5 kind of progresses. And I think that's a big strength to Navi, why they're so scary to play sometimes, is that they can go into a B execute, they can lose their entry, they still organize, they still move in the right way and pathways and just get the trade very cleanly. Like they know how to time their peaks as a unit and just the space they take. I feel like when they're playing some of these maps, they get into these awkward situations where they just kind of have to claw their way back, and a lot of these rounds on Nuke, for example, was stressed. Like Fallen pushes up ladder, he just runs out catwalk, kills people without trades. It's almost like they went into these afterplan situations before they had an afterplan situation at all. And this gave Fallen kind of the space and room to have that amount of impact on Nuke.
Dude, there was one where Bit was so scared of Fallen. By the way, Bit has an M4 or an AK, I forget.
Yeah.
Fallen has a Mac 10. It's a 1v1. Fallen's planted on the A site. and Bit like allows Fallen to have close range. So at one point, Fallen pokes, saw was Bit was in main, and then hides back. So Bit has to go close, but Bit wasn't playing with confidence in that 1v1.
Yeah. And
I'm not
I
going to
feel
blame
like
just all that on it, but you gave him so many chances to shine and to do craziness.
it's understandable in a best of 5 that communication will slip and some things aren't going to be perfect.
Yep.
But it happens so many times that if it just popped on for one of those rounds where we saw that kind of Navi of Inferno as an example, they would have clinched this map. And
Yeah.
that's probably why we talk about the tilt as well, because I know for a fact that if you have players that are tilt, you know that you're dropping 10-15% of communication. They might say the
Yeah, but
bare
look, you're
minimum, but
saying
they're not
this.
they're not taking the initiative to pick up someone else's slack. Like if someone is in a stressful situation, you're a bit tilt because you died, you're not talking for him. Like when we had a podcast with Apex, for example, what did he call it?
Yep.
Like they had some special name about it, where if someone is dead, you talk for that person.
Yeah. Yep.
And I feel like I, I have a hard time seeing that without knowing that is happening when I look at their cameras. I have a very, very hard time to believe that,
Yeah.
because there's very few times during my years of coaching that the tilt player is full tilt, just showing all his frustration, and then he's just like, "Yeah, one up heaven,
Go here.
one main."
Yeah. Check for space here.
Yeah, it's like, talk to each other.
But dude, it's also, I think Foreign tweeted this, is that Navi have always been bad at best of 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah, best of 3s winning. Esports World Cup into the major, these kind of events, no problem. But the best of 5s where they've struggled.
And do you think that is because of the amount of detail they have in their prep work? Because you could also
Could
kind
be.
of contribute their first 2 map wins to the prep, right? They may be looking at this like, okay, if we win the first 2, we probably win the best of 5. But you can't
Yeah.
really pump in 5 maps of anti-strat and triggers and everything into a player's brain just before a match starts. It has to go in kind of segments. Okay, we will
Yeah.
take first 2 maps. If we get to this point, we will add,
But by the way, that's what Vitality did so good. Remember, Apex said, I can't even be
Yeah.
thinking about the 3rd or the 4th map. I've got my prep and I know what's happening on the first 2, maybe a 3rd. But then when it's the 4th and the 5th, then I'm having to be retold it or given it all the information again by their analyst Matt or by Xtaz, And just
But
to quote Foreign correctly, by the way, I don't want to
yeah.
misquote the legend. He says, even peak Navi last year wasn't one for best of 5s. In best of 3, they can theoretically still beat most teams. A full 5 maps is too much to ask versus any good team, though. And it is true. It is absolutely true. It is something they've struggled with across the board here. And do you remember when we did the Star Series interview and they're all on the couch with me?
Yeah.
And I pushed them because I know these guys very well. I wasn't trying to be horrible. I'm good friends with them. I pushed Wonderful about, like, you're tilting all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit obviously just quiet.
I am
hardly
said
says
this
anything
is a
as always.
great question.
Yeah, because he knows. He sat there like, dude, he was smiling because he's like, finally, someone's asked you. Can he? And Wonderful tried to shrug it off. Blade tried to help him out a bit, but this is a fact. We
I
can
mean,
all
it's
see it.
so visible.
And it's like, it's him, it's Bit. It's like, the only one I don't see, because Imma also tilts, right? The only one I don't see tilting is Makazi. The only one.
He's
And
just
he's
happy
too
to be
young
there,
right now.
man.
He's like, okay, I want to see one too, play these big tournaments. But like, something will have to change after the major, which Blade has already alluded to and spoke about so many times, right? It's all about this test for the major. But
Yeah.
it is still a positive, even if people don't want to see it, that they made another grand final when you do have Mongols, Aurora, yeah, and they are beating these teams. This is I'll still take positively. It's just that this is going to hurt and sting because they know how much they threw this.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of work to do.
I'll even add on a little bit on this tilting
yeah, go on.
point.
Keep going.
Because I think what's so frustrating is that Wonderful, as a
Hmm.
player, you can see that he has moments where he can just take over games. He can, be
Yeah,
that impactful player that they need, and be one of the top opers in Counter Strike. But it
definitely.
feels like, and this is just from my perspective and experience, that when
Hmm.
you tilt like that, let's say the next round you're gonna have a lower amount of impact. There's either
Yeah.
two scenarios: either you go almost tilt chasing, is what
Hmm.
I kind of call it, where you want to revenge. This
Yeah.
guy was lucky, so I'm gonna get you this time. And you almost over aggress just because you want him. And that can be a problem in like a systematic way of playing, where you're
Especially for
just
Navi.
like, "What the hell are you doing?" Um, but the other thing is, some players, it's not just one round; it can be multiple rounds where they just drop off in both communication and
Hmm.
in forgetting about communicating stuff to they're not in the right place, or that they're in their head so they don't hear the calls. um, and all of these things affect you, and it's going to be affect your performance.
Yeah.
And the frustrating part is, since we know he can be so good, it's just frustrating as a viewer to see it happen so often, when I understand it's going to happen. It happens to everyone. But the
Yeah.
frequency of how it happens is the worrying part.
It is. And I would say now that what we've seen in these recent performances for Navi, it does put them in, maybe not 100%, but maybe being in a playoff potential team for the major. But it doesn't have them as title contenders right now.
No,
The
not
only thing
title
that benefits
contenders,
if
but
they did get to the grand final, it is a best of three.
they've taken the right steps. I think
Yeah,
they are
positive
still,
steps.
you know, they have the most amazing tournament. They could still, very slim chance, be in a final and potentially clinch it. But a
Hmm.
lot of things that are out of their control is riding on that.
Yeah.
um, like how the brackets and everything. But still, right steps. I think I agree with you. They could definitely make playoff at a major as it's looking.
All right. Well, last words I'll say on Thunderpick was I think the tournament was run pretty well. I liked what I was seeing on the stream and stuff. I don't understand why there wasn't any crowd. I maybe need to ask that because it's like they had influencers and stuff there, and then the commentators and guests and people from the staff, but there was no fans in the arena, which would have been nice to see, even if it was just a small one. Malta does get a lot of love like that. Um, Other than that, I think overall we've done pretty well for covering CAC and Thunderpick. So let's
Yep.
move into the news and some of the news that's happened while we were away. Let's start with ENCE and Kuben part ways. By the way, I have a soft spot for Kuben, from the way he is as a person to how much he cares about his players, from the legendary moments he had throughout 1.6 to where he is. I'm glad that they could mutually decide that he could part ways. He's been on the bench, by the way, since August 2024. I hope this means that he's got another team coming his way, because people might be able to just like rib on him a bit. But what he did with Mad Lions into Apex,
I
he
think
didn't
what
get
they
a
did
fair
in Apex was incredible.
yeah.
Um,
And by the way, he was there with me at JL's wedding. The connection and the relationship they have and what he did for JL's career is huge, and it's not talked about enough. And I feel like he can still do that for a lot of teams coming up. You might not put him on a top 10 team right now, maybe not even a top 15, but he is a player, he is a coach who could get more out of the players to see them excel into a higher spot, be better than the sum of their parts. I still believe that.
I think that is a very good way of putting it. I think just the way he looks at Counter Strike, in a way that
Mhm.
I've always found it difficult to play against his teams, because of the way they've always had this kind of sense of anti-stratting that is difficult to deal with when
Yeah.
Kuben has been there. And I think that's, I mean, I don't know his daily workings. I'm sure there's a lot more value than that. But that
Yeah.
part I can kind of vouch for, in a sense that it's difficult to play against, difficult to prepare against. And is very much, if he gets you into a best of one scenario, you could be absolutely screwed in terms of prep because he's so good at it. So
Yeah.
I think that he still has a lot of value to add. I don't think he's at all in a done spot. I think, like you say, if you're having a troublesome period and you're in that like top 15-20 mark,
Mm-hmm.
definitely look at him.
From there, from Kuben, we'll look at BC.Game sign Electronic. Now, this isn't the move I was expecting. It wasn't the rain announcement that everyone was talking about, but it is Simple and Electronic coming together and being put on the same team again. Now, the problem is, Electronic did say, like, I'll read out his own tweet from this because this will be more from his own words. I'm glad to announce that I'm joining BC.Game team. I am very happy to play together with Simple again, incredibly hungry and motivated to work like never before. Because I'm glad he says that because he's got a lot to prove. Electronic stocks are at the lowest we may have ever seen them across his entire career.
Yep.
From the way he exited VP, it's like it can't go any lower. The great thing is he's not having to IGL anymore, and he is reunited with Simple. Now, Simple, this is my mind going here. Simple Electronic rising to tier 1 again together. That's a beautiful story. Now, Simple's already shown he'll put up the numbers against the tier 2, tier 3, and below scores. Yeah, he'll own. But if we can get Electronic to do a bit of that as well, my eyes are a bit more open. And again, we'll just say this is the slow part of seeing where Simple can bring in players he wants to BC.Game. Now, I don't want to just see him bring in NAVI 2021. I want to see a bit of variety in this. I'm also happy to see Electronic go into English. He's been doing English interviews with me for a long time.
So you want to see
It's been
Rain?
improving.
Is that it?
But I do want to see Rain. I still want to see Rain. So someone else from BC.Game, you got to go to another team. Not sure where, but you've got to go. And then Rain comes in as well. Would be the beautiful side of things. But overall, this is a good move for BC.Game. There's small risk because it is Electronic. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm not completely down and out on him. Maybe if you buy the stocks of Electronic now when they're so low, it can only get better from here because he's back with Simple. Maybe.
Well, I think it's one of those things where obviously Electronic, as you say, hasn't had the highest stocks, but him kind of dropping down a level where he can regain some confidence, kind of grind his way and find his own game again to some degree. It's kind of like that when a player turns IGL like Twist, they need a little bit of time to kind of come back. Stop thinking too much about the team and start thinking about their individual moves and how they want to take on duels and players and kind of perfect that again. Because, I mean, Electronic, he was essentially, to some degree, the donk of old days, like how good he was as a rifler. He could absolutely destroy people.
Before
Very
Donk was
different
definitely.
rifler,
Yeah.
but he was incredible. I've played him plenty of times, and he would have like 2 rating, and the rest of them would have nothing, and they would win like 13-11 just by
And you
pure
just
carry performance. No, he was insane. Like his level was unbelievable. So just get a tenth of that, and he's good to go.
Well, if that motivation is not just a tweet and it's real, I'm very excited. But I will keep an eye on what their games are doing in the upcoming.
I think it can do him some good.
Because he's playing soon. They're playing in just a few days. So let's see what they can do.
Wasn't it tomorrow?
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, 18 hours.
Oh, there we go. See, look, we're on for a good one. All right, the next one is Vin's leaving Wildcard. Vin's is the coach of Wildcard. And I'm just going to give you this to start off with. Vin's, before Wildcard, was coaching like tier 2, tier 3 teams. People might still call Wildcard a tier 2 team, but it was a high VRS team in the Americas region. He was together with Stanislaw. He's from Poland. I think he's from what I understand from speaking to players that have worked with him, pretty good coach. This is very damning more of that organization they called Wildcard. And I'll read out what it says here. It says, after a long and intense journey with Wildcard, we're terminating my contract early, which means I am available to start a new project in just a few days with full agreement from Wildcard. That's crazy because you don't even have a new project and you want to leave them. Yeah. What I'm proud most of, though, is the incredible progress made by the players we brought together. This lineup, a mix of players searching for their path, all of them except Stan, without big achievements before, experienced the best moments of their careers here. That means the world to me. My vision with Peter, which is Stanislaw, and the organizations has become completely different. But even though I am someone who does not mince my words, when it comes to the organization, I believe that what happened in the locker room should stay in the locker room. So he's not going to talk about anything.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to thank all the players. He says, I don't need a break. I have unfinished business. He wants to go work. He's open to working in any region, Europe, Americas, Asia, even creating a new project. But the main thing is this guy is now jobless because of how bad Wildcard was and how bad this organization has been and how terrible this has all gone. Dude, like that's insane.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean,
That's how bad it's got
he's
at Wildcard.
essentially saying like there's a lot of bad shit in the background, but just not gonna talk about it out of because
Which I
this is
respect that, but you're
but
leaving a job.
yeah, but don't you think that they're terminating this contract early with maybe an agreement to let's skip the drama?
Yeah, then pay him some more money. Then give him give him
I
a
mean,
little handout.
that's probably a fair deal. If he doesn't want to be there, they don't. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, but it is a weird one with Wildcard. I
it gets worse though. It just continues to get worse.
yeah, but this is just like an aftermath of the initial. I don't know even what to call it.
And poor Fuzi's still there as well. So there's Stanislaw Fuzi, Fiku, Jaber, and Peeping.
Yeah, be. Yeah. I mean, what do you even say? I think it's disappointing. It's sad to see that Wildcard has taken this path when they had a team where they were doing what they set out to do. They achieved that, and the team still got destroyed in various mysterious decision making,
Yeah.
um, which I'm sure this guy had nothing to do with.
Yeah, he's just being told by the org.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, he should be proud of what they achieved. I think they did a great job. I mean, that original wildcard lineup, qualifying for two majors, as he said, Legend Stage in
Yeah.
Shanghai, from nothing in the same year is exceptional.
I can't believe you just did Ni Hao, Shanghai, all in the same. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Devil. But yeah, it's just another player gone from, another coach gone from the lineup. This is a more negative effect for Wildcard. Let's see what happens where he goes next. We'll keep an eye on it all.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to almost the very end. We're at the PGL Masters Bucharest 2025 preview. I will be going there live. It's a PGL event, so can't miss that. Going over to Bucharest, which is obviously always very nice, but it's probably very cold there right now. What is it? Weather in Bucharest now. I assume it's going to be cold. 12 degrees. That's not too bad. That's fine. Because it goes as low as 3 and 5 at night. But we'll be talking all about the Counter-Strike in there. So let's look down the teams. Now, remember, because of Chengdu basically starts on the next day from here, that a lot of teams who would have gone, maybe like a Mongols or FaZe, said no because they didn't want to do both tournaments. Both PGL and ESL said that you could skip the tournament and leave it if you already said yes, but up until a certain date. So obviously, we're left with quite some low-ranking teams here, Devilwalk. This is not a normal PGL event. For a $1.25 million event, yeah?
Yeah.
We've got Aurora, 3D Max, Astralis, Liquid, Pain, Game Elysian, Gentlemates, Heroic. That's normally the last 8 teams, and you have 8 better teams, yeah? And then from there, we've got Bait, Nip, Legacy, Fnatic, BetBoom, Saw, MIBR, FlyQuest. So there's not a big wow factor for this with the teams. We have to be honest.
No, but I mean, it's still a decent tournament to look at. I still think it's kind of interesting in the sense that this could be you know, you look at it and it's like Aurora, 3D Max, maybe Liquid, Australis. They should probably clinch this win, but I'm not that confident that it's gonna be that easy for them because I think it's still a strong field in terms of how close they are. Even though like the bottom half, as you say, it's if you look at this versus the Thunderpick that we just watched,
Mhm.
it's not a big discrepancy in that sense between the teams. They're still kind of
Yeah.
lining up pretty well. It's top 9 to top 30.
The one thing I'll say, I expect this to be very exciting.
I
I
think so
expect this
too.
to be a lot of teams really having their chance to punch upwards, get a few more reps. Remember, for Aurora, this is their last event before the major. Some teams, I believe, are still double dipping. Let me have a look so I don't lie. Chengdu.
We've already made our predictions for this.
So Astralis, Pain, 3D Max are attending both. So is Heroic. Yes, we've already made our predictions for this. So we already did this. We sent it to our lovely Ivan to go through. I made one quick change as well on mine before we started. So
Really?
I just got it in the nick of time. He thumbs up it, so he's all good.
That's cheating, Ivan.
How can I? It's not cheating. I changed it before we started. Don't even try it. But I'll say this, right? Legacy off the back of winning CAC should be looking at a playoffs to deep run. Betboom, who we haven't seen in quite some time, need to show themselves in some way.
I have to look at my predictions.
FlyQuest need to believe that they can do something here, because obviously everything right now for them is, since JKS actually hasn't improved too much. Aurora could actually look at winning this. That could be within their minds. And so could it be for Liquid, Astralis, and 3D Max.
Yep.
So we'll go through the opening matchups and we'll go through our predictions. So, Legacy, Liquid. I predicted Legacy.
I predicted Legacy.
Okay. Pain, Gentlemates. I predicted Gentlemates.
I predicted Gentlemates.
Oh, God. Gamer Legion, FlyQuest. I predicted Gamer Legion.
I predicted Gamer Legion.
Nip, Heroic. I predicted Heroic.
I predicted Nip.
This is good. You obviously didn't see the news. You know, Snappy's not
What?
there.
He's
Snappy's
not.
No, he's having his baby.
Oh, yeah.
Susp is standing in for him.
I'll keep my prediction, though.
Oh, okay. I was going to allow you to change it if you wanted to.
Nah. Let's just keep it.
Fair play. 3D Max Saw. 3D Max.
3D Max.
BB Team versus MIBR.
I took Betboom here.
So did I. I took BB Team. Aurora Fnatic.
I took Fnatic.
What? Okay. God damn, you're really not in on the Turkish squad, are you?
Okay, they used to have my love, man. I used to predict them every single time, but now I'm slightly disappointed.
This is a group stage, though.
Yeah, but I've seen them have faulty group stages nowadays.
You're falling off on it.
Yeah.
All right, then Bait Astralis.
Astralis.
Okay, a couple of different ones at the end. Now, overall winner for the whole tournament. Who did you put?
I put 3D Max.
So did I. I said 3D
similar.
Max, maybe Aurora, potentially Liquid. That's been my mind.
The only thing is I might. Well, if I would change anything, I wouldn't even change the NIP one. I would change the Liquid. I'm not sure about Legacy. Is such a randomness.
Yeah,
and Liquid did look better. I don't know. But I'll keep them for now. But I think Liquid might actually win.
Looking at this though, right? For me, this is a great warm-up event for a lot of teams. Yeah, as a last test to try some things out.
Yeah.
So for Aurora, we know they've got no practice time. They're going to keep going like they were. So that's why I don't think they're very likely to win it. But if they could just mentally switch into the fact that, oh, you know what? This is before boot camps, before everything else. Let's just do what we do. Maybe that looseness could work out for them.
I still
Three.
the same problem applies to them. They don't have that home map. Like, I mean, if
Yes.
they go up against someone that has Train as their main pick, what are they gonna pick? You know, like where are they going? I just feel like they're not specialized on the map, and a lot of these teams will have that specialized map, and that's going to punish them. And over the course of a Swiss system tournament and playoff, they're
Hmm.
going to struggle. I don't think they will have the consistency to win it. I mean,
Yeah.
this might be clip farmed later and said I'm a absolute idiot, but that's how
I,
I
I
feel.
I would say then for 3D Max, now it's about a point to prove. Yes, you
Yeah,
lost the legacy, but bouncing back. And I feel like this is a team that can bounce back in Europe without a problem.
yeah.
Astralis is still an unknown. While they've got Magisk here, I'm not in on them like this is a great team to choose from. And I would put Liquid probably ending above them. I feel like
I'd agree on that.
a Liquid looking at a top 3, maybe a grand final here is solid.
Yeah,
Pain, they got work to do. And they need to show us that work. Game
yeah.
Legion,
They're kind of like a Brazilian VP at this point.
yeah, not as bad, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
And remember, right? I had to say this again: 3D Max, Astralis, Pain, and Heroic are all doing Chengdu and this. So if 3D Max, Astralis, Pain, or Heroic make it to the grand finals, yeah, they will struggle. They will get a fine to land for media day. They will get a fine. They'll still make it for the tournament, but they will
yeah.
struggle. Oh, by the way, it's not just grand finals; it's the third place decider as well. Game Legion, they need to show up. This is an event without anyone close to a top team. Yeah.
If they
And
don't do like if they crash out of Swiss, I
yeah.
I, I would be very very disappointed. And there's red flags, waving
And this is
because
the best format as well. This is the best format.
well, not for them.
No, but it's the best format for Counter-Strike. Yeah.
Yes.
Gentlemates. I'm so excited to see them on a LAN again. Let's see if they can start off well. Their second buys. Remember, they're bad at pistols, but the second round is awesome. I'm excited to see what they can do. It's an exciting team. It's a fun team. EPL may have not gone the way they wanted, but at least stage 1 was pretty good.
What was the best rank? Oh, Movie Star had, was it 5?
Oh, I don't know. I
I
can't
think
be quoted.
I think they were ranked 5 in
Mm-hmm.
September 2022. So
Okay.
this could potentially get them. A win here
Not
could
jump them up, but it's
springboard
not
them a
gonna.
lot.
Yeah. Heroic next. Alcaren's back, at least what it shows for now on the 20th of October. I expect them to perform better because he's back. Even if Hades was good, I expect them to perform better. Then we've got Bait. Now, full team, all 5 players. Kenzazor's back. MPL's not leading anymore. I think this is going to be great. I think this
You
is going
think
to
you
be
think
so
it's going to
good.
be so great, like just so quickly? I mean,
Yeah, because MPL was already having. He told us back at Star Series that like he was getting help with the secondary calling. Yeah.
yeah.
So now this is for me, this is a positive sign. Like I don't expect them to maybe win it, but I expect them to do some good damage here and get some more points. For NIP, they're still attending, even though Snappy won't be there. Susp is coming in, which at least I expect maybe better output from him than what Snappy has in numbers. I'm hoping Shush is the one they get to like lead a little bit here. But I don't know. I'm kind of because of this whole not having Snappy. I think he's such a good voice and such a strong leader that this could be a problem.
Is this going to be a Hooksy situation with Stewie 2K?
Oh, where they win the whole thing?
Yeah.
Don't say that. No, surely not. Surely
This
not.
it's not the same situation, but
No. Anything's possible, but no. Legacy, their ranking right now doesn't show up to the same way, right? They're 13th on the VRS now, I
13.
believe, because of this. Yeah, 13th on the VRS because of their win. So let's see what they can do here. I think minimum they need is a top 4 finish here. Minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah, I expect that minimum.
Okay. I think
I believe.
you're some crazy pills, but
I've been taking a lot of them.
that's true actually. But
Fnatic.
yeah, me
Oh,
on
you want to talk to
Legacy,
Legacy?
I feel
Okay.
like they, in a Swiss system like this, they're gonna drop maps. I know that for sure. They're starting off their game against Liquid. They might end up in a situation where they go 0-1. I don't know. I feel like they have to ride some huge momentum waves.
I believe in it. I believe in
All
it.
right, all right.
Fnatic. Still sticking with the Jacasmo over Cypher, by the looks of it. Has potential of reaching playoffs. Has potential.
I think so as well.
Bet Boom. I don't know. I have no idea what to expect from these guys. At the beginning of the year, when they were playing Blast Bounty and they made it to land, and they couldn't come with their full team because of visas, and then you just never see him again. You know, they're
But they
doing
are
okay
doing
online.
really well, like in the tier 2 online cups and all of that,
Yeah,
CCTs.
when you're looking at these names, tier 2, tier 3 is the correct
Oh,
ranking.
okay,
Because
okay.
yeah,
Tier 2, tier 3.
can't say
Depends
tier 2
on
because
how
they're not
far
even.
you'll stretch the tier, you know?
Yeah, they're not even in tier 2 themselves. You know. Saw obviously not making the major, trying to show us what they can do with a full Portuguese roster. I don't have much hope for them, but I'm interested to see them again. It's always good to see Mutirius and Story.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to these guys and known these guys for quite some time. MIBR will just get more questions answered, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said previously what I wanted to say about them. I think they're a little bit of a weird lineup, and I don't really know where to put them.
Well, FlyQuest, the one thing I'm looking at here, yeah, right now they are 48th in the VRS. Their lowest they've ever been is 54. If they perform badly here, they're definitely going lower than
Ooh.
that.
Dude, they've been
Definitely going lower than that.
skyrocketing downwards.
That's not skyrocketing, that's
That's
nosediving.
nose
That's
diving
nose
downwards.
diving. Yeah, it's the complete opposite. Like they're only in the VRS like for the major because of their being in Asia, you know.
Yeah.
And with JKS, I'm expecting so much more. I have said that the last few times I've seen them, and we still don't see it. So let's wait and see what happens. PGL Bucharest will be fun. I'll be there doing all the interviews. It's all no arena at a LAN. It should be good either way. PGL always delivers.
Yeah.
So let's get on to our Q&A from our Discord. Remember, if you want to ask any of your questions, any questions, doesn't even need to be about Counter-Strike. Can we ask about what color socks Devilwalk is wearing right now? You can answer them in our Discord. You can find it in the link below,
I
down
had
on
to
the YouTube
check.
or on Spotify. Yep, you got to check. I don't even know what color I'm wearing watermelon socks right now.
I have gray.
Nice, plain and simple. So, Skorga's first question. The Budapest Major, audiences for stages 1, 2, and 3, which is amazing, by the way. I'm so happy. Yet Cologne only stage 3. Is this a waste? I'll say this. We don't know if it's going to be a waste yet. ESL is very good at announcing things after the fact. So Chengdu didn't have crowd at the beginning for the group stage, then it did. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do decide to open it up. I do think if they didn't, it would be a waste. It would be very sad. I would love, and especially how the legacy and the legendary moments that come from Cologne, I would love for Cologne to have crowd for all stages. Please, like that's the dream.
But it feels like also in these events, especially the colognes and stuff, people are there way before the actual playoff starts. Feel
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
see CS fans like walking around and all the time, like going up to the playoff. So I'm sure there are people that would attend if they could.
definitely. And obviously, it's probably just depending on where they do their group stage, is it something suitable for the
Yeah,
players,
yeah, yeah.
and for ESL? If I compare it to like a normal Cologne area we go to, I don't think an audience would work. But if they
Yeah.
could find somewhere and change it up for that, maybe they do. I don't think we can call it a waste yet because it's still so far away. But I would hope by the end of this
It
year,
would be
early next
cool.
year, they'd be able to tell us because it would be really cool. I think everyone would
Yeah.
want that. Maybe we just need to start screaming and shouting about it a little bit more. And guess what? The second question is from Mars. So Mars and Scorer, you guys are legends because you're always sending in questions. You guys, anyone can do this as well, so do take part. Do you guys think VRS or HLTV is a better rating? Oh, Devilwalk, you can go first.
Well, to be fair, I was never a fan of either. I think I've been leaning more towards VRS the more I've learned about it. That, because we have to some degree also say, HLTV rating is what we follow. It's been traditional. We followed it all the time, but no one really knew how it worked at all. It was really tough sometimes to figure things out. There's been plenty of flaws with HLTV ranking as well. Um, and I think VRS, with it being so transparent, and if you want to, you can understand it better. And there's definitely tweaks that's going to be happening along the way. I'm actually warming up to VRS a lot more,
Okay.
especially with the sense that with VRS, it has kind of revived the tier 2 LAN, tier 3 LAN scene, or just
Mhm.
grassroots Counter Strike in a big sense. And I think a lot of that should be contributed to VRS. And I think it's a big thing in Counter Strike, and I'm grateful that is a thing.
For me, I feel like HLTV has always been the staple I've always used and followed for how I'm ranking the teams. But I look at this as an example now. I'm going on the website, world ranking for HLTV, updated on the 13th of October. Valve was updated today. Yeah. So Valve has, we do top 5, Vitality, Furia, Falcons, Mongols, NAVI. But then world ranking for HLTV, top 5 is Vitality, Mongols, Mals, Falcons, Spirit. I don't put NAVI as a top 5 team in the world right now. The VRS does. So I would say that more accurate to the Counter-Strike I'm seeing played and the level of teams is HLTV. And VRS obviously still needs some adjustments and some work on. Obviously, HLTV has been running for a long time. So for me right now, I edge HLTV as being the more accurate of the two.
I would agree on that, even though I think VRS, just because of the transparency, is a good thing.
Oh, bro, guess what? Guess what?
What?
3 minutes ago, ICE, who represented our club in CS2 as an AWPA, has been benched. ICE
All
has been
right.
representing the Bears since December 2024. We thank him for his work and professionalism. The club is open to exploring different options for the player's future. Further updates regarding our CS2 roster will be announced later. So it's exactly what I said. They're just using him. They didn't make the major anyway. Or did they make that? They did. They did. They made the major. God damn it, I need to find this. I don't want to say I didn't make the major because they might have just snuck in.
Dude, I might have lost the plot.
What?
VRS invites. Valve ranking. How do you see
No, they
the?
didn't make the major. Yeah, they didn't make the major.
Yeah.
I'm looking at stage 1 teams. They're not there. Okay, yeah, I was right. VP didn't make the major. So Icy's gone. I don't see him as a problem personally. There's a lot more other things going on. But they didn't announce straight away that some young players coming in. We were just about to close up the podcast and finish it. And this is what we get to read. It's kind of crazy.
I mean,
oh, no. 30 seconds ago, BIST
no.
or VP.Prodigy has been promoted to the main roster. So okay. The one good thing, VP, that I'll give you on this is that both times now, Toro and BIST have been upgraded from your academy roster, from VP.Prodigy, and put into the main team. That I respect. Thank you very much, because you've had like 6 years of this academy team and you've never done it. And then this year you've done it twice. So the same player that was supposed to play at CAC, yeah, now they've just come out with the full reasons. So basically, you made IC play because it's the only way you could stay within the rules for CAC, and then you kicked him anyway.
You're like perfecto.
We called it.
Come to this team. It's amazing. We have electronic. We have a lot of good players. Come sign. Signs contract, kicks everyone, promotes whole academy team. It's just academy team with perfectors IGL.
Oh, it's so wild, man. This happens just now. Well, I'm glad we were still recording at that point, but that's a wild one. I'm not surprised. We kind of saw it coming, but sad for Icy a little bit. I don't think he wasn't great, but
Have you seen anything from this BIS guy?
No, bro. I've not watched any VP.Prodigy games. I try to miss VP games, let alone VP.Prodigy games.
Okay.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
Hey, maybe.
I mean, they did beat Liquid recently.
Yeah, Blast Rising. That was when Liquid were absolutely ass and didn't have a coach.
Yeah.
BIS did drop a 1.40 rating, so maybe it's the truth. But I'll say this, right? Icy went through a lot of up and down changes. There was moments where he was really good and really on. And I'm not saying they're making the wrong move. I feel like, yes, probably Icy did need to go. But I felt like he was so screwed over and over again in many of these moves and changes. It was so hard with like your IGL change and everything to be consistent. Do I feel like they could have got a better Aurora a while ago? Yes, 100%. But I'm not going to be like, Icy's fully at fault here. I'll be a bit nice there because it was a very mismanaged team in so many ways.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's been a long time. Probably even before they kicked Jame to some degree.
Continues to go down, but we'll see. Maybe it starts to rise. Let's see how two now academy players can do on the main roster. But that's it, Devilwalk. Episode 29 is done. We're at the end of it all. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. Me and Devilwalk, as always, are your hosts throughout all of it. I know we've been promising a guest for some time, but I'll just tell you guys, just wait, because it's not just about guests. We are going to cook. We have been planning. We have been developing an idea, and we're a bit crazy. So maybe you want to try and guess in the comments what it will be, but we're going to be going and leveling up a gear.
Maybe some Devilwalk underwear.
Yeah. Maybe some Devilwalk underwear. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. But on that note, thank you as always for everyone watching. If you haven't done it already and you use TikTok, please go and follow the TikTok. We're trying to get ourselves verified on there. The views and stuff now is actually crazy on
I haven't actually checked in a while.
Dude, YouTube, we're at 969,000 views. We're nearly 1 million, and we only started posting on the 6th of January.
It's pretty good.
Yep. Obviously, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other good audio platforms as well. So however you're enjoying the podcast, please let us know in the comments if there's something you want to see more of. Not guests, because we already covered that, but anything else, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. Devilwalk, any final words?
No, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I hope your implants recover nicely. Thanks.
Booty, rocking everywhere.